for this car. Buy this car to drive to work. Drive to work.
Welcome to YellBro. I am Jordan, and today we're gonna react to some Kyle. Yeah, you Kyle fans, you don't scare me, Kyle fans. Fucking spam downvoting me. Guess what? I asked for those downvotes. All right, I asked for thumbs down at the end of every video, bro. You don't scare me, and neither do your arguments. Anyways, we're gonna react to Kyle. I guess he's noticing a trend happening where I guess he's calling them libertarians. Okay, yeah. Like Ron Paul, Dave Smith. And these are videos I've gone over already, or I'm sure I've gone over, or looked over at least, without even recording, just looking at them. And it's Kyle's turn. I want to hear I'm curious what Kyle thinks. Before I get started, don't forget to share, support, hopefully donate to all the links in the description box. Check them out, read them, share them. Donate! Regulators! I can't wait to use that intro. Found it. And what's it? Just hit the east side of the LBC. Alright. So, Kyle, I guess Kyle's catching wind of some of the quote-unquote libertarians and their problems with the Trump administration so far. Now, granted, I think the guys that he's about to listen to would be considered enemies, according to Kyle's definition of enemies, like me. Like, I'm not a libertarian, but me and Dave Smith and Ron Paul would probably all be in the same boat because we would question Bernie Sanders. So that would make us the enemies at this moment in time, which is like fine. For me, I'm like fine, but I don't know. Like, listen, I'm the last person to say, "Hey, team up, everybody, jump on teams." I'm the exact opposite. I'm like, work on yourself, then enter the political arena, and then start. You know, you'll naturally find people like-minded, or even people who don't think like you, but you recognize, okay, this person means well, so thus I can conversate with this person. Right? No strategies needed, but hey, you know. Not everyone's like that, as far you know. So maybe Kyle, he might be using this as, once again, it could be strategy. Like, how am I supposed to judge when it's an authentic expression of, you know, is he doing this to point out like, hey, someone agrees with me, or is it to point out, hey, Trump fans, look, you're losing fans. He's bleeding fans. Look at this. We're starting to win now. Which could be what Kyle's doing, which is scary, and I'd be like, damn, that's not your friend, bro. For me, from the outside, I'm like, damn, that's not your friend type shit to do. That's some guy with pamphlets and hats and t-shirts, like, join me over here, please, come on. That's a used car salesman. That's what that is. But I hope Kyle is doing this because he's like, oh shit, see, even guys like, we're all recognizing something's not right here. Awesome. But, all right. Without further ado, I know, I'm sorry, I'm prejudging Kyle. Let's hear Kyle out. Name of the video, Libertarians Turn on Trump in Spectacular Fashion. What's with the titles in it? Does that work on people? You tell me in the comment section. Does that work on you? When you see capital letters like, oh, fuck, I have to click on this video. Is it about expression? But if it was about expression, why would 10,000 motherfuckers be doing the same exact thing? Like, you're all thinking the exact same way? Damn, capital letters. I don't know. Maybe it's a language that, I don't know. Anyways, here's Kyle.
All right, y'all, so here we go again.
Where's Kyle from?
The Libertarians are turning on Trump.
I want to guess he's from, like, Virginia or something.
I have mixed feelings about this.
Or,
I
like,
will
Maryland.
say, I'm sure you all know this already, but I have a love-hate relationship with libertarians, and they have a love-hate relationship with me. Because when you're talking about foreign policy, for example, I agree with libertarians and they agree with me about like 90%. Drug policy, we agree completely. Civil liberties, we agree completely. But when it gets to economics, we could not disagree more. I mean, you're talking social democracy versus anarcho-capitalism. You cannot get two more polar opposite philosophies. Now, having said that, to be fair to the libertarians, they
just want to add in here. Hey, like, having different policies, like, why isn't that's fine? That should be an okay thing. Like, okay, there's more answers that we can throw towards a solution, right? More perspectives that throw out a solution. The problem is when someone's just bullshitting and they're full of shit and they're not actually about those ideas, those words, right? If they're being inauthentic about what they're expressing in regards to economic policy, or they plan on, let's say, running on a certain economic idea, they get elected and they do the opposite, which means they showed no integrity in regards to it, that's where you run into problems. But if you have someone who like means what they're saying and they mean well, like, oh, the goal is to make sure everyone's make sure the world is a better place. If that is the main goal, there should be nothing wrong with, you shouldn't even be disseminating yourself as libertarian or social democrat or whatever the fuck. You should just be Kyle and that guy should be Dave or Ron Paul or whatever. Because the point is to make the world a better place, right, guys? It's not about your team winning. It's about making the world a better place. Meaning, if Kyle eventually finds out one day, like, oh shit, I was wrong about this economic policy. What else? What could we do? Because the point is to make the world a better place. All right. So if I'm wrong about this economic policy, maybe it's not the most efficient way to go about it. I will look for a different solution. Same goes with Dave Smith or Ron Paul. I'm not saying they have the exact same beliefs, but I'm saying like this quote unquote libertarian economic policy, right? If they find out, like, oh shit, this doesn't work, they should show the integrity, because the point is to do the right thing, right? Show the integrity that, like, okay, hey, my main goal here is not to be a libertarian. My main goal is to make a world a better place, to be a righteous person, to do the right thing. Thus, if I'm wrong, I'm willing to change, skew, completely discard whatever it takes to do the right thing in regards to economic policy or any policy. So that's why I say, like, as far as, once again, I hate fucking team playing. But at the same time, if you all stand up as individuals with this one goal in mind of, like, we're trying to make the world a better place, then all the other stuff is fucking easy. It's easy. Because there's plenty of smart people around. Kyle's a smart guy. Dave's a smart guy. Ron Paul's definitely a smart guy. These guys could talk with each other and actually, like, even just those three alone, even though you have so many other people, right? But let's just say that just those three alone, they can come up with something efficient for the world. Like, okay, this is what could work and make the world a better place. So, like, if the idea is healthcare, right? It's like, okay, maybe some sort of universal healthcare. Maybe that's the best idea. That's the most efficient way to get everyone healthcare and everyone's taken care of, and it doesn't fucking, break our backs to do it. Or let's say it's Ron Paul's idea. Okay, if you get rid of corruption, then the free market will work out and healthcare, everyone will get healthcare. It just will, based on just life. It's like, just by natural expression, they'll have healthcare by whatever job they work. Their wages won't be plunged to the fucking bottom of the earth because, greedy corporations and, corporations working with the government to fucking harm regular people. Like, if we get those things out of the way, the economy will work fine and everyone will be able to afford healthcare. Like, maybe that's the most efficient way. Fine. Like, the point is to make sure everyone is taken care of, right? So, yeah, like, these weird dividing lines, in my opinion, it should have never been about parties and, these labels of Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Progressive, Social Democrat, Communist, Marxist, Socialist, whatever, anarcho-capitalist. Like, it should have never been divided by that. It should be divided by, I'm trying to do the right thing, and, like, people that agree upon what the right thing to do is, right? And then moving from there. Like, what is the outcome I want? Okay, everything else we can argue and, like, figure out because we're all smart people here, right? Like, I won't, like, if I see Medicare for all working, I'm not going to go in there and sabotage it because I'm a libertarian, right? If I see, whatever, certain gun laws working, I'm not going to sabotage it because I'm a Democrat, right? That's stupid. Like, that's the thing that you need to get out of the way. Are these motherfuckers who don't even care to mean well in the first place. That's the real problem. And then to go a little bit further, I know I'm taking a long time, but yeah, I talk. What do you want from me? And then another thing, guess what? Let's say Kyle writes down the perfect idea for universal healthcare. Writes it out. It's perfectly. It works. It's pristine. It will work if they implement it. But the guy who's going to implement it is George W. Bush, which means he's going to fuck it up. He's going to change things here or there. He's going to skew things here or there. And then when people see, like, oh, see, look, yo, Kyle, this Medicare for all doesn't work, bro. It doesn't work. Meanwhile, it had nothing to do with the plan. It has everything to do with the people that are trying to implement the plan. Because of their lack of integrity and their corruption in regards to that idea. Maybe they're taking money from the fucking insurance companies or some shit like that. Or the healthcare industry. And they sabotage it. Which means we never actually got a real chance to find out what is the most efficient thing. And that has been plaguing politics forever. But yet I still hear people, like, I think we're still there as a human race. I think we're still there, which I think is, once again, I'm not some fucking genius, but I feel like I'm genius on this fucking point. Where it's like, where motherfuckers are like, oh, we need less government. Oh, no, we need more government. And it's like, meanwhile, it has nothing to do with sizes of government itself, a system itself. Sometimes it's a lot to do with the motherfuckers in there. And guess what? We can't even be scientific about it until you get rid of anyone subverting, the intended idea. I mean, pick any of these presidents that have existed, and they say what their ideas are for whatever policy, right? And it's like, they'll say the words that seems like it means like it's going to head in this direction, right? The point is to get everyone health care. The point is to, make the economy boom. That's the point. They say that in words, but in reality, it's just to help their rich fucking friends out. Which means you're not actually, like, you can't scientifically just dismiss some of these political ideas or social ideas or domestic policy or foreign. You can't dismiss them outright because we don't actually see the real version. Because someone's in there subverting it for their own greed or interest or whatever the fuck. Or power. So, officially, YellBro starting a new political party. It's called the I Mean to Do the Right Thing Party. Meaning you could be libertarian, social democrat, socialist, Marxist, anarcho-capitalist, atheist, religious, gay, straight. You'd be whatever the fuck you want. As long as your point is to make the world a better place. And you have the arguments to back that. Alright? Let's say you mean to do well, but you lack an argumentation for how you want to do that. Well, that's why you have all these other motherfuckers around. And if you dismiss someone's idea because they have a different label than you have, and like, you're probably too dumb for this. You should probably do something else, man. Like, get smart or get the fuck out. But, modern politics. How the pinky ring on? Oh, never mind. All right, it's probably like his wedding ring or something. I was like, is that Cal out here rocking a pinky ring now too? God damn, blinging up. All right, so sorry. So he's about to say him and libertarians have a split economically. Here we go.
I agree with libertarians.
Hope I made sense there. I think I made sense.
Drug policy, we agree completely. Civil liberties, we agree completely. But when it gets to economics, we could not disagree more. I mean, you're talking social democracy versus anarcho-capitalism. You cannot get to more polar opposite philosophies. Now, having said that...
And just to add one more thing. And I would assume Kyle would say, like, oh, no, I don't disagree with Donald Trump. That motherfucker's corrupt. This ain't about disagreeing. I don't think this guy actually believes in the shit he says out loud. That's what I would say. So it ain't about disagreeing with some of these corrupt motherfuckers in office. It's about these motherfuckers don't actually mean what they say. Thus, they aren't the thing they pretend to be. Whether it's Republican or free market capitalist or whatever the fuck. But, it's another level of diagnosis that's probably needed. But here we go.
Get to more polar opposite philosophies. Now, having said that, to be fair to the libertarians, they are certainly more vocal in their disagreements with Trump and MAGA than other members of MAGA. There's some percentage of MAGA that are just flat out in a cult. If you ask me, it's got to be anywhere between 26% and 33% of the country. The reason I use that as a number is because that's the variation in the polls that ask the American people if they support the United States illegally stealing and annexing Greenland and occupying it and taking all their natural resources. Okay?
Kyle, that's a shitty poll. Like, he asked to know that's a shitty poll, right? I know friends that would be like, yeah, let's take Greenland. As a joke, they would do that. Like, come on. And by the way, I never see any of these fucking polls anywhere. I just don't. But whatever. Come on. That can't be your metric. I was about to agree with Kyle, thinking he's saying a 26 to 33% of, and I thought he was going to say Trump voter, like people who just voted for Trump, right? I think that number's even lower. I think there's like 10 to 15%. This is off the top of my head guessing, right? Maybe he has numbers that, like, I guess the Greenland thing is a good enough metric for other people. It's just not for me. So me taking a wild guess out there, it's probably like 10 to 15% are hardcore MAGA no matter what. There's probably 20-something to 30-something% that are just not paying attention to politics anyways. They just vote every 4 years. They don't do anything. Like, other than that, they watch maybe the headlines on the news. They're like, oh, whatever, entertainment. And then there's people that are like, fuck you, you're owned by Israel. Right? But the Greenland thing, that's a terrible metric to use, I think. That's a terrible, terrible metric. I think polls themselves are terrible. And Kyle should know this because people have been asked about Medicare for all in polls, and they say, oh, no, I don't agree with that. Meanwhile, if you actually explain the actual policy to them and how you would pay for it, they might be in agreement with it. But Kyle should know that. He might be playing politics here, which is ugly and beneath him. Pause. Like, in my opinion. Like, I still think Kyle means well. It's just like, yo, that shit's beneath you, bro. Anyways, here we go.
26 to 33% said, sure, I'm for it because Trump is. Okay, you're donezo. You're too far gone. No interest in trying to build bridges with you or even convince you otherwise, because the fact that you convinced yourself of that means, I don't know if there's any way you're getting the fuck out of that. That's just, to me, that just boggles the mind, right? But libertarians are a little more vocal when they disagree with Trump. So let's start with this clip here. This is the comedian and podcaster.
Oh, damn. I just went over this clip.
Crystal Kyle and Friends before. I forget what the topic was that we talked to him about. But anyway, he's been on Crystal Kyle and Friends before. Let's see what he has to say.
Oh, you're already working associates, bro?
Policy. Here we go.
They were like, they'll probably cheer him on if he launches a war in Iran. And then I saw one guy underneath that said, it goes, I know Dave Smith sure will. And okay, it's just like a comment on Twitter, but I was just like blown away. And I'm not blown away by much. But I was like, does anybody actually thinks I would, just because I'm like, well, I did support this guy, so I'll rationalize and like defend getting in another war in the Middle East? But just for anyone who may have that, I will say this. If Donald Trump actually does launch a war in Iran, not only will I not support it, I will apologize for the rest of my life for voting for the guy. That undoes any positive that might have come.
I did this video already. My response was, Dave, you should already be apologizing. He's done enough. He's done enough already to be like, damn, I was wrong. Or I'm sorry for supporting this guy. And guess what? I'm sure other people voted for him because I did. I'm sorry for that. I was like, Dave, you should already be apologizing. But, all right, here we go.
Wow. I like it. I like this clip. I like what he's saying. I like how upfront he's being with it. But what I will say is this, Dave, to defend the commenter, I understand where they're coming from, saying about you, like, oh, I bet Dave Smith will flip and support it. And the reason, Dave, that they're saying that is because
friends of friends.
We already know about Trump's first term in office. And the idea that he would even be a little bit anti-war is frankly preposterous.
I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Yeah, it's like, did motherfuckers turn their brains off? Was it hopium to the max? Like, fentanyl-laced hopium? Is that what happened here? Everyone went fucking brain dead? Sorry to joke about that. All right, here we go.
So that person's point is, well, hold on. You didn't draw the line against Trump with any of his other warmongering policies. So why would they think you're going to do it this time if he launches
Get him,
a
Kyle.
war with Iran. So to lay it out for you in no uncertain terms, in Trump's first term, illegally increased drone strikes 432%. He did a total of 2,243 drone strikes in his first 2 years. And then he got rid of the reporting laws around it, so he didn't have to tell you about the drone strikes he was doing. To put that in perspective, he blew...
I have said that a bunch of times. Well, I'm just recently coming back to YouTube, kind of. But it has been said. Here we go. It's kind of the most obvious, like, come on, guys. You want to talk about someone who's holding up the war on terror? And what was the response? You didn't start any new wars. It's like, good God. Anyways, here we go.
143 drone strikes
Get him, Kyle.
in his first 2 years. And then he got rid of the reporting laws around it, so he didn't have to tell you about the drone strikes he was doing. To put that in perspective, he blew Obama out of the water when it came to drone strikes, and Obama was called the drone president for doing so many drone strikes.
Damn, I said the
That's just one
same
example.
shit.
As you know, he kept us in Iraq. He kept us in Afghanistan. There was a 330% increase in civilian deaths in Afghanistan when Trump was in office. He bombed Syria
The
twice.
Moab.
He bombed Somalia.
He dropped the Moab in Afghanistan, along with drone strikes happening all over the world. Now, yes, there are the two instances of missile strikes on Syria based on, let's be real, flimsy, faulty evidence. Just look at the babies on like kind of false pretenses. But let's be real, he was drone striking up and down in Syria, and he was funding all the groups that everyone was worried about beforehand. Right? All the groups that are now controlling Syria now, these Al Qaeda guys, he was funding them. People he had, and at least in the conspiracy world, had ideas about the white helmets. He was funding them as well. But he gave them like $4 million in one signing of something. He's like, here's $4 million. Like, damn. Can someone else get can a poor kid from the Bronx get that $4 million? Nope, he'll never see that shit. But some random guys who are willing to shoot guns at our at his enemies, not ours. Like, yeah, those guys will get $4 million. A little weird, huh? But it goes on and on. I'll let Kyle go down. I'm just gonna try to add details where he might not be saying. He probably knows about, but he's trying to be snappy. Be quick. All right, here we go.
As you know, he kept us in Iraq. He kept us in Afghanistan. There was a 330% increase in civilian deaths in Afghanistan when Trump was in office. He bombed Syria twice. He bombed Somalia. He occupied a third of Syria and bragged about taking the oil, which of course is colossally illegal. He increased the...
He also did something about, I'm going to take troops out of Syria, right? And I believe he moved them to Iraq, so he increased troop sizes in Iraq. He killed Soleimani in Iraq, ironically enough, as well. Yes, Somalia, Sudan, expansions into Africa. Like Marines have died fighting in Africa. That just didn't get reported, apparently, or maybe it did and just no one heard about it. But once again, he didn't start any new wars. Like, no, they were expanding into Africa, fighting in all these conflicts in there and shit. And there are American soldiers dying from it. And I say that not because like, oh my God, it's so extra important when that happens. It's more to say like they were in actual combat. It wasn't fly-by drone strikes where I guess a lot of people, maybe Dave before the election was like, well, he didn't start any new wars, or Jimmy Dore was like that, or some of these assholes were like that. Oh, he didn't start any new wars. And it's like they won't count it as a war until troops hit the ground. I'm like, well, here's troops hitting ground and dying. And killing. Here we go.
And bragged about taking the oil, which of course is colossally illegal. He increased the Pentagon budget every single year. He let Israel illegally annex the Golan Heights, which is Syrian territory.
Yep.
As I'm sure Dave knows, Trump took $100 million from Miriam Adelson, and the quid pro quo is you got to let me annex the West Bank. Got to let Israel annex the West Bank. In the first term.
Once again, I don't sell that narrative at all. I can't say I know. Once again, Trump's already a billionaire, dude. He's already a billionaire. In fact, like, oh, it's all for money. Give me $100 million. Right? It's like, well, he could have made that not entering any type of political race. He could have made that money just continuing his businesses he already had and working along. Let's be real. What these guys usually do is work alongside the government. he would have been considered a perfectly fine neoliberal. Joe Biden would have been nice to him, like, oh, hey there, Donald, you need some, these contracts, you need to get them done, okay? I can move some of the regulation around, make sure this happens for you, okay? Like, so I don't just buy into the Mary Adelson gave him $100 million. That means he works for Israel. Like, what? You're going to have to tempt a billionaire with a lot more than $100 million, bro. NBA players make $100 million now to shoot basketballs. Like, come on. You're going to have to do more than that. Yeah, you're going to have to do more than that, I think. And, let's be real, I think it's all partnerships. It's not so, Israel runs everything. $100 million, now Israel runs everything. Like, I don't know, but hey, I understand why people are guessing that, and I can't get in their way because I have nothing to point to the contrary, really, other than just street smarts. That's all I got. That's all I have for that. I don't have any documentation to show otherwise. So, but all right, here we go. And
the quid pro quo is you got to let me annex the West Bank. Got to let Israel annex the West Bank. In the first term, he assassinated Qasem Soleimani, the Iranian commander who was on the field fighting ISIS. Trump tried to coup Venezuela in the first term.
Are you reading this, Kyle?
He ripped up the Iran agreement, which was working. According to the UN, according to the IAEA, he armed Saudi Arabia as they did a genocide in Yemen and vetoed a bill to cut off the weapons.
Yep.
He was on the campaign trail this time saying he wants war with Mexico in his second term. He said Biden isn't supporting Israel enough and letting them finish the job.
Yeah, he did say that. But war with Mexico, interesting. Now, I've seen some TV shows, and I've seen, and then the whole Tulsi Gabbard showing up at the border shit. Like, yeah, that looks a little weird. I don't know if that means war with Mexico. I don't think that means war with Mexico, but let's just say the war on terror hitting the southern border is definitely a possibility. Because once again, the war on terror is global. It means wherever this quote-unquote terror shows up. And once again, the Orange Penguin gets to deem who's a terrorist and who's not, right? So wherever this terror thing shows up on the planet Earth, we're allowed to go in there or drone strike it or bomb it or whatever the fuck we want to do. Because it's the war without jurisdiction, right? You just go wherever it is, wherever this thing terror. Oh, you're having bad dreams? Let's drone strike this guy's house, bro. His dreams have terror in it. Like, I guess you're fighting this fantasy idea thing, wherever you find, like, and you're the dictator of what it means, and yada, yada, yada. Like, yeah, sure. I don't think it means war with Mexico. I think it means maybe, like oh, the Iranian-backed groups are trying to get through the southern border. We're going to help Mexico out by drone striking all these poor areas. And it'll mostly kill civilians, but, at least we're threatening terror. Anyways, there we go.
Dropped the Moab, the mother of all bombs, on Afghanistan. He hired John Bolton and Mike Pompeo and Gina Haspel and all these insane neocon warmongers and let them run.
Dude, watch my videos, Kyle.
His first military raid as president literally killed a young American girl. He pardoned Blackwater war criminals who did the Nice.
You watch my videos, Kyle? What the fuck? Like, I've literally said these things, like, in verbatim. Anyways.
Square massacre.
He's reading his, though. I don't read mine.
Executive orders. And
that's off the
he
memory,
said we should,
off
quote,
the dome, bro.
take out the families of terrorists. Now, that's mostly, with the exception of a handful of things there, that's mostly just the...
By the way, Bernie supported the kill list, Obama's kill list, which would include that American child because of her dad and I guess her brother, too. 2 Americans that Obama killed when he was in office. Yeah, Bernie supported the kill list, just so Kyle knows. But you won't have a list to read for that one, really. He'll keep that quiet. He won't say that one. At least not while he's running, right? Maybe he said it before, but he won't. If Bernie's running, he ain't gonna say that shit, bro. Let's keep it a buck. All right, here we go.
Torture executive orders, and he said we should, quote, take out the families of
Alawakis.
terrorists. Now, that's mostly, with the exception of a handful of things there, that's mostly just the first term. So we already knew this guy, not only is he a warmonger, he's a colossal warmonger. And so I know...
I don't know if I agree with putting it that way. Like, I would say he's just a continuation of what's already happened. He's a continuation of it. Let's be real. Because when Biden came into office, those other wars didn't just tamper down. They didn't just stop happening. Israel got that popped off. Biden funded them, supported them, vetoed when the UN tried to punish them or question them at the very least. Right? He kicked things up in Ukraine with umpteen amount of billions of dollars to fucking Ukraine to keep that war going. Obama was already on the border threatening Russia, right? So with NATO forces and all that shit. So yeah, he was. I don't look at Trump as extra worse. I look at him as extra aggressive within the same plan that every other president has been doing for a long time now. He's extra aggressive with it, for sure. I'll say that. Right? He's like, I don't need a filter. I don't need to intellectualize it. Right? I don't need to justify it. I just fucking do it. Obama had to try to intellectualize and justify what he was doing. Right? And make it sound smart, like these are procedures that he's doing. Like, but no, it's the same thing. Just a little bit toned down, less aggressive, but the same fucking thing. So, and yeah, once again, killing one family versus killing two families, they're both equally bad for me. In my world, those are equally bad. Anyways, here we go. And let's be real, it creates the seed for what Trump did, right? Everything Trump was doing was not unprecedented. It's off the backs of what everyone was doing before him, right? So Obama, when he kills one family, Trump's like, why can't I just kill two? He just goes in and kills two. But the idea is still of killing families is still on both sides. The little girl he brought up in his first operation, the Alawaki girl, Obama killed her dad and son in his terms. He set the precedent of killing Americans overseas. Trump's like, I'll follow suit. I'll take care of the rest of the family. Don't worry, I'll take the rest out. So I don't like this distinction. I do think everything should be forensically looked at and make distinctions based on right number, size, scale, and all that shit. 100%. But that's quantitative. Qualitatively, same thing to me. On a moral level, same fucking thing. So I hope he's talking about numbers instead of like. He probably is. He's probably talking about numbers instead of like what it means to be doing such corrupt actions around the world, and that like they're both equally war criminals. But all right, here we go.
What Dave would say, he would say, well, looking at the options that we have.
I cut him off at a certain spot, I think.
This guy, not only is he a worst term, so we already knew. This guy, not only is he a warmonger, he's a colossal warmonger. And so I know what Dave would say. He would say, well, looking at the options that we had, I just think perhaps Trump would be less pro-war than the Democrat. I think that's what his response would be. And my reaction to that would be, Dave, when Joe Biden pulled out of Afghanistan, literally nobody except like me defended him. Right? It was, oh my God, everybody's hair's on fire, 24/7 coverage in the media saying how it's a horrible idea, Republicans attacking him for it relentlessly, including Trump attacking him for it relentlessly. Very few Democrats, you can count them on one hand, the Democrats that went on TV to defend Joe Biden pulling out of Afghanistan. So
well, a lot of MAGA fans were giving Trump credit for that, I believe, Kyle. I think they were giving him credit, like, oh, he accepted negotiations with, oh my God, why am I mind farting right now? Oh my God. No. Fuck the fucking group there. Fuck the Taliban. Jesus Christ. They were giving Trump credit for negotiating with the Taliban and said, like, he's the real one who was getting us out of Afghanistan, and it left Biden no choice but to get out. And then when Biden did try to get out, he fucked it up, and people died from it. Which is, I could 100% believe that Biden fucked it up. I can 100% believe that. But yeah, that's part of the narrative, Kyle. So, like, if you're going to talk to like a Trump fan, that they might be walking around with that idea that Trump was the one who actually created the peace. Biden tried to fuck it up, but he couldn't, so he had to pull out of it. And when he did try to pull out, he fucked it up still and got people killed or whatever. That's kind of their talking point. I'm sure he knows that. All right, here we go.
Republicans attacking him for it relentlessly, including Trump attacking him for it relentlessly. Very few Democrats. You can count them on one hand, the Democrats that went on TV to defend Joe Biden pulling out of Afghanistan. So the implication was, hey, if we have a forever war going on, let it keep going. And don't defend it when somebody pulls out. And yeah, of course, Afghanistan was a house of cards and it collapsed immediately. But it was going to collapse if we pulled out then or if we pulled out fucking 20 years from now. Why waste trillions of dollars more U.S. lives, more civilian lives over there? Just get the fuck out. I was defending.
By the way, we didn't get the fuck out. By the way, yeah, anyway, go on. There's always people left. There's always people left behind, Kyle. Syria fell. We still have fucking troops there. We still have fucking troops there, Kyle. There's still troops in Syria, bro. As far as I understand, and there's still troops in fucking Afghanistan, as far as I understand. Maybe they don't call them the armies there, but maybe like special forces or some sort of specialized name, right? So, yeah, there's still Western powers all over Afghanistan. Just they might not be there in the capacity of active combat, but they're still there. Because they need to get into active combat. Just like we're still in Iraq, right? Obama left, quote unquote, left Iraq. They didn't leave Iraq, bro. They built the city and stayed there. So, but all right, here we go. Like we occupy. We're still in Germany, Kyle. We permanently occupy motherfuckers, bro. It is what it is. All right, here we go.
U.S. lives, more civilian lives over there. Just get the fuck out. I was defending him forthrightly, and nobody gave him credit for that. And I to be fair, I don't know what Dave Smith said about it, but that's the thing, right? Is like, so, and I hate Joe Biden's foreign policy broadly. He helped give us the genocide in Gaza by arming Israel. But at the same time, nobody ever gave him credit for pulling out of Afghanistan. Nobody ever gave him credit for nearly eliminating the drone war, right? When Kamala was on the campaign trail in the debate, she defended the Biden withdrawal from Afghanistan. And that's not me saying Kamala is, she's a peacenik or whatever. No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying if you're being honest about the options on the table, there was no doubt Trump was going to be the bigger warmonger. Based on his previous record, based on what Biden and Kamala did in office. And then, of course, as soon as Trump got in there, what happened? Suddenly, he's talking about stealing Greenland. He's talking about stealing Panama. He's saying we're going to make Canada the 51st state, and if they don't agree, we're going to change the border and steal some more of their land and change their water rights. He's...
Okay. Once again, I don't think Kamala would be the lesser warmonger at all, bro. What you're seeing with Ukraine, Russia would be worse. You're losing there. The shit in Israel, Gaza would be the same, essentially. Right? Remember, they ceasefired right after Trump won the election. I would consider them that they might do that. Whoever won, they would go into a ceasefire and then get refunded and rearmed, and then go back in again and try to eliminate all of Gaza, essentially. So that's not going to change. The drone strikes throughout Africa, or especially Somalia, to control kind of the waterways there and the ports and shit like that, that'd still probably be happening. The war in Yemen, Biden was bombing Yemen, wasn't he? I think that would continue as well. So I'm like, where's the better at, Kyle? I don't see the better. I see different. I see slightly different. But I don't know about better. Once again, you're measuring murdering one family versus murdering two families. And I view them, qualitatively the same thing. If you're going to go out here and pick numbers out, like, look, 2,734 civilians died here. 2,785 died here. Who's the better candidate? Like, what? What? I know the numbers are a little bit more crazy than that because Trump was like doubling Obama in like 2 years as far as civilian deaths. But for me, 1,000 versus 2,000, like, sorry, dude. There is no better in that scenario. Better for who?
What's he arguing?
Well, he's arguing like, oh, Kamala was essentially the better foreign policy option because and he's like, oh, she wouldn't be a peacenik, but she'd be better than what Trump's doing. He's bringing up Greenland and all this shit. I'm like, bro, it's like he fell for the distraction or he's looking for talking points to use because if you go on the war on terror, they just look pretty similar to each other.
This guy fell deep into that crystal ball pool. He, and that you got to make certain concessions when you do that.
No, but she was in Kyle's lane, wasn't she? When I used to react to 8-Ball and
Nah,
Sugar.
Crystal Ball was like, let's vote, let's take over the Democratic Party.
Yeah, she was a fucking Jimmy Dore motherfucker.
I wouldn't say that.
Bro, when I was reacting to Crystal Ball or 8-Ball and Sugar, when I was reacting to these two fools, they were like, oh, they talked about like forced to vote. They talked about Tulsi Gabbard getting mistreated. Bernie support.
Well, let's be honest, Jordan. None of that equates to abandon the Democratic Party.
No.
That's what I'm saying. This guy's playing he's playing the game she's playing. We got two options. You got to pick one. That's the game they're playing. I'm being a realist. That's all. It's either the rainbow flag nipple piercing or the MAGA nipple piercing. That's those are his two options. He has to pick one.
Well, I'll say this. On foreign policy, it's Kyle with a pistol. On one side, there's two kids blindfolded. On the other side, there's one kid blindfolded. Go ahead, Kyle, make a choice. Like, do I have to choose either one? Like, no, you don't. Exactly. You don't have to pick. You don't have to do it. You don't have to shoot anyone, Kyle. Right? There's your other option. You don't have to shoot any one of these kids. Beautiful. But his argumentation on foreign policy, at least, just on foreign policy, is one kid versus two kids. Like, that's like, just shoot the one kid to save the two. And once again, I don't care if it's 5 million kids versus one kid. Go ahead, Kyle, pull the trigger then. Go ahead. It's only one kid. It's only one child, innocent, knows nothing about the world yet. Right? Hasn't had his first girlfriend or their first boyfriend. Hasn't lived a life yet, but it's only one of them. Come on, Kyle, look over there. 5 million kids, all dead. It's not worth it, bro. Shoot that one kid. Shoot him. I need him to make that choice. Like, really make the choice what it really is. And if you think that's phantasmagoria bullshit, some make-believe bullshit, it actually is like that. That's what he's actually saying in regards to foreign policy. He knows what Kamala would be doing in office with her foreign policy. But he's like, it'll be way better than Trump's. Like, oh, so it's... Go ahead, shoot the kid. The kid that would die under Kamala but wouldn't die under Trump. Like, go ahead, shoot that one kid. His or her life's worth it.
Well, here's where Kyle's hypocritical, because Kyle will... He will. It's kind of a pick and choose thing.
Yeah.
Let's say Trump arbitrarily so far has killed, I don't know, 20,000 people, but Kamala's killed 10, and she's gotten domestic things he wanted passed. He will look over the 10. And focus on the domestic policies she's passing that he's on board with. But
yeah, probably.
He's going to make fun of libertarians, and he's going to make fun of MAGA guys for making that same gamble.
Yeah, they essentially read it the opposite direction, which is... I mean, Granted, Kyle's right. He's basically pointing out everything I said in my video. Where it's like, yo, Dave, this stuff... Here's his record from 4 years. He had 4 years in office. Here's his record, and these are all the horrible neoconist shit he was already doing. So, like, how'd you not know that Trump would go in this direction like this? Now,
no,
I can assess. Because I can assess where the Dave Smiths, the Jimmy Dores, I can see where they're coming from. Right, I've argued with these people. I see where it comes from. I understand. It's a lot of rhetoric. It's a lot of hopium, right? And it's ultimately just a misdiagnosis. But I don't view these guys. Well, not going to count Jimmy Dore in this, but Dave Smith at least. Like I could see like where their hearts might be in the right place. It's just they're bad at assessing like what the fuck they saw. Like for me and Kyle, but Kyle already has a keen eye looking at Republicans in a bad way, right? I just looked at what I saw the guy doing, and I'm like, wait a minute, like this is straight up neocon shit. So this is a terrible diagnosis that this guy's going to become a peacemaker all of a sudden. Like what? I was like, what gave you that evidence? Like his words he said during the campaign.
No, I've been thinking about this. It's not that. It's again, super pause. It's the whole package. Super pause. It is, but bro, you can't. It's like it's like ancillary things start to add up to he's a better candidate in their minds where it comes to he's got all these cultural agendas and on paper certain fiscal policies that make sense to Dave and Dave Smith and that ilk. And then the cherry on top is Trump says, "Yeah, we gotta end the Ukraine war, and we gotta stop being in all the." I don't even think Trump said that this time. He did not say we gotta stop being in all. I think he told Tim Pool. What did he tell Tim Pool?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I don't know why these guys.
Yeah, man.
Because I seen that shit been flown around where apparently that worked on a lot of people that were. It's like, I don't believe that, but people say that it worked on them as far as. Yeah, everybody also drop bombs when you can just settle a problem by making a phone call. That's what Trump said to Tim Pool.
Yeah.
And they're using like, oh look, he wants to make a deal. He wants to make a deal, or he wants to stop all the wasteful spending on all these incursions or whatever. And it's like, yo, did you see what he was doing with? Like Trump used money as a weapon his first 4 years.
Oh yeah.
In as far as foreign policy is concerned, whether it be sanctions, whether it be um, military aid, so on and so forth,
Yeah.
moving the embassy
Yeah.
to Jerusalem or whatever,
Yep.
Golan Heights, Syria, all that shit. So it's like, so they, I don't, it's crazy, bro. Like I'm telling you though, when they say no, when they make the argument, no, this I truly believe this. When they make the argument, no, he's gonna try to end the wars or whatever. That's on the backdrop of the domestic agenda he has. The domestic agenda is what brings these fuckers to the table. And then the foreign policy rhetoric Trump says that never happens in reality while he's running. That's what they sell you on. They're not selling you on the anti-trans shit, anti workers protection, the deregulation he's promised. Like those things are
Immigration.
kind of brushed. Those because they're trying to appeal to people that they're not gonna know the inside baseball or those maybe anti-trans for sure, anti-LGBT movement or the DEI hires or shit like that. Think about it. When
You
he
fall
won
for
all
that.
those executive orders, the immigration, all that. That's what he was being celebrated for. And then Trump's like, yeah. That was phase one. Now phase two is to do all this neocon shit. And now people are like, now people are either running scared, they don't want to talk about it, or they're doing what Dave Smith is doing. Or they're still playing defense in a way. They're saying it's not him, he's doing 5D chess. They're working against him still. There's some people like Ian Carroll, those fuckers. Candace.
I mean, fuck. Maybe it's my bias because once again, I stayed away from politics for basically damn near the entire Joe Biden administration. I just wasn't even looking at them like this is.
Yeah.
But maybe it's my bias in regards to like I look at foreign policy first and foremost. Are you willing to blow innocent people up? And I look at Kamala. I'm like, yep. I look at Trump. Yep. Biden.
Yeah.
Yep. I look at Bernie. Yep. They are willing to go through that process and do that shit. Maybe to catch the bad guy, but whatever their excuse is, they will probably kill innocent people. which is already a no-go for me. And what I sit around doing, I build up evidence and cases against these fools of why like this is not worth supporting, because it's basically what I've been arguing this entire video. So maybe because of my bias in regards to that I've heard, it feels like I've seen these guys when I did hear them talk. It was mainly about foreign policy, the Dave Smiths, the Jimmy Dores, and watching them like look past this shit and say, "Oh, he's gonna be a peace president, peacetime president, or peace style, or better, or maybe more so than anything else, better than Kamala." Right? That's probably more so what we've probably heard in regards to foreign policy. Better than Kamala. They're gonna start World War III with Russia. Right? That was a big one.
Yeah.
So maybe that's my bias of strictly paying attention to that. I thought that was the main reasons why these fools were supporting Trump so hard, was he was going to be a peace
I can't
president.
blame you for thinking that, but I'm telling you that is not why. He
Okay.
he did not win the popular vote and get all the support because of his foreign policy.
No. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about once again, I'm not talking about the general voter.
Yeah.
I'm talking about
Yeah.
like the talking heads, right? The content
Well,
creators,
okay,
those guys.
yeah. Okay, so if we're just sticking to the talking heads, those policies are what they use to prop up that support. But I'm telling you, that is not this dude. Like Scott Horton is a great example. Scott Horton. I don't know if he supported Trump or not. He's like the real deal in that lane compared to this guy Dave Smith. Dave
Yeah.
Smith Dave Smith is parading those talking points around, but he really wants the domestic shit.
Really?
It's just like, oh, if I'm it's like, yeah, I'm in more intellectual, he would say, circles. So if I'm gonna have an intellectual argument about Kamala or Trump, I'm gonna I'm gonna say these things foreign policy wise, because that would give me a leg up. But like he said, remember what he said? He said, "Oh, in that moment, I just thought Trump was a better option," and I 100% knew what he meant by that. He meant the whole thing, bro. He did not just mean. There was no way he was singling out foreign policy as like the key reason for voting for Trump. He was saying
Man,
that other shit, but the fact Trump was saying these things, I
that's
don't know
even
what.
more
It
disappointing
made it
than.
an easier. It made it easier to look the other way and say, yeah,
Oh.
yeah. It's like, bro, it's kind of fucked up. It's like going raw dog, bro. You're like, fuck it.
That might
We're
be
already
worse,
here.
dude. That might be worse. If this if this fool
I
was just
think that's what it's at.
using foreign policy as just a backdrop as of an argument to be like, here's another reason why he's better. Like,
I
I'm
would say
wrecked.
I would say it's a
I'm
little more
wrecked.
intrinsic. It's a little more intrinsic than a backdrop. But I'm telling you, when Trump went to the Libertarian convention or whatever to speak, and he got booed out of the fucking gym, this guy, this guy Dave Smith, was in one breath heralding the party for not succumbing to Trump, even though months later they did.
Hmm.
And my belief is the reason they did is, on the other hand, he was bumping heads with other
Pause.
factions of the party, the upper echelons of the party, people who were trying to lead the party. I guess the guy who was leading the party, he had a certain philosophy of I'm speaking vaguely. I don't know all the details, but like I heard what's this guy fucking Pasta talking about this. Or yeah, he Pasta had him on something like that. This was like last summer, like this is when the convention was going on, and
Yeah.
Dave Smith was like lamenting that, oh, my faction of the party didn't win, and we allowed the kind of like quasi woke SJW part of the Libertarian Party to win, where these guys, where he was basically griping that that part of the
Yes.
party didn't take the cultural shit as seriously as he did, or his faction did. And then he was also lumping foreign policy into that. We're like, oh, like whatever. He was like vaguely. I'm vaguely saying that he was kind of he was kind of having gripes that that faction took over, and from that point on, because I'm like, oh, I kept watching Dave Smith like in like a controlled, closed environment. He'd show up for 20 minutes or whatever, and he had things to say that sounded good, like the Yemen shit, foreign policy in general, sounded good, civil liberties. But
Yeah.
at the same time, those cultural things were rooted deeply into his arguments. And the more he talked, or in the longer form versions of him talking, him sharing ideas, I'm like, okay, this is taking a forefront into his psyche of what he wants to see in a presidential candidate.
But
Because he was
couldn't
supposed
that
to
be
run
taken?
himself.
And couldn't that be taken as like he's using that as an excuse to get the everyday voter because he likes the foreign policy so much? Is that possible too? Like, oh,
Yeah,
I like Trump's
I would.
foreign
Yeah, but
policy.
I'm telling you, I saw. No, okay. So I'm telling you, bro. Why I'm telling you this is in a heated moment exchange he had. That's the shit he was mad. He was really fired up about. And at that point, besides Gaza, like Trump didn't even go there to talk about foreign policy. He went there to talk about like broadly speaking his agenda domestically more than anything else. And it was on the backdrop of that this guy was saying, "Oh, I don't know why we are allowing this guy to take not Trump, but the guy that actually ended up representing the Libertarian Party."
Yeah.
That's what he would like. You know what I mean? Like when I hear someone like spitting fire out of their mouth. This guy was Dave Smith was spitting fire out of his mouth, and he was talking about trans shit, SJW shit. I'm like, okay, that's where. Okay, so this guy, this shit is really at the forefront of his arguments.
Oh my god,
And then
that's
like,
spooky.
yo, I swear to God. Then after
I
that, I didn't watch him at all till recently, where we're watching all these things unfold.
yeah.
And if you look at when Trump went in till now, his bitching started when Trump started doing dumb shit in the foreign policy arena. Meaning what, Jordan? Meaning he approved of the shit he was doing beforehand. And he was and he was kumbaya, like, yeah, he not rah 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 that I haven't seen it. I'm sure he's not rah rah rah, but he's like, yeah, everything seems to be going according to plan, and like he's saying, yesterday you made a video, you were like, yo, Dave, how do the positives outweigh the negatives? These are the positives I'm talking about for him,
Oh my
outweighing
god,
negatives. And it's like I'm like, bro, if
that's
you listen to what I'm saying,
crazy. You banned gay volleyball and all. That's such a positive that you
the
ignore.
men's playing trans men's playing with women or whatever, or trans women playing with men. I mean with women.
Yeah,
All that
that's
shit.
that much of a. Are we stupid? Are we stupid?
I'm telling you, bro. I am
Oh
telling
my.
you. I can put Dave Smith in a room right now, and we'll
I'm
hear
sorry,
these
bro.
talking points from him, bro.
I'm sorry. I viewed that shit off rip as a fucking Trojan horse, and it
Distraction.
fucking
It's a
was.
distraction, bro.
It was a Trojan horse to get motherfuckers to support a blatant neocon. If that worked on this fool, he's way dumber than I thought he was. Way dumber.
I'm
I thought his
telling
thing
you,
was foreign
bro.
policy.
I'm telling
I
you,
really
bro.
did think
He
that.
can say he can spin it however he wants, bro. The foreign policy was a vessel to get that shit accomplished.
I'm
I
wrecked.
needed Trump. I needed Trump to say what he was saying on the campaign trail in order to ride this horse into the White House to get the domestic shit accomplished. And
Yeah.
now he's like, oh my God, the civil liberties, and you got Marco Rubio. It's the same shit with Scott Ritter. It's like, oh, you got Marco Rubio in there. You got Hegseth. You got you got him doing all these threats and all this shit. And it's like that was not a problem when he first came in and he's signing all these executive orders and he's getting the DEIs out of here. The SJWs are crying. That shit was at the forefront of this guy's mind.
Yeah.
Telling you. And
Incredible.
if you really what he said in that video we watched yesterday, it makes sense what I'm saying, bro. Like you said, what are the positives? I'm telling you what the positives are. I'm
But those
telling you, bro.
aren't. a libertarian asking for less civil liberties is what he's asking. Even on specifically,
No.
hold on, specifically on the trans or whatever the LGBT, DEI, and all that shit. That's actual. Again, I think that's against civil liberties because these motherfuckers did not make laws about that. I thought it was private companies making certain rules for their companies to have certain whatever. You can't say this, you can't say that, you'll get banned or whatever, right? That was like the civil liberty, the whole trans thing, right? Or sports organizations allowing or banning certain things, right? But this guy, Trump, is writing things into law to stop. Like he's not actually writing them into law. He's executive ordering these things to stop them from existing. Which is like, wait a minute, how's that any type of libertarian at all? That doesn't make sense. But hey, whatever.
So,
I guess no more gay volleyball. Awesome guys.
Yeah, you go for the culture shit, bro.
Culture shit. By the way, Dave can't play in my sports, bro. He's banned. Too harsh for him. Anyways, by the way, side note, ironically enough, I don't know. I just felt like I was on YouTube screaming about team playing and how important individuality is and existentialism. These motherfuckers, when you brought that libertarian, the split in the party of the libertarians, like this is happening in all political avenues. They're all splitting apart from each other naturally. They're all naturally separating from each other, and it's fucking hilarious to watch. Think about 8 years ago, Anthony. Would you ever thought that Kyle, Jimmy, TYT, yada yada, like whoever the fuck, they'd all be like, they used to be all together, right? Now they're all fucking spaced and separated from each other. Like they're entering their own fucking arenas by themselves with no like right now, this guy's probably mad at TYT, right? For because of Cenk and Anna leaning more towards the right, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, isn't that interesting? The guy who was advocating to do that in a healthy way, and then you have these guys who are like, if they're not on this team, they're the enemy. That's what Kyle was saying about Bernie Sanders. Like, if you work against Bernie, you're the enemy. I'm like, huh? So that's what solidarity means, quote unquote. I like my version better. But anyways, hey, it is what it is. I'll be consistent. I'll watch these fools dance, backflip, somersault, jumping jack their way through fucking life. I'll be me.
It just makes no sense, bro. This guy's offering a realistic, quote unquote, take on how to get shit done. But the people he's pushing will never do what he wants. He'll give them a list of 20 things they might do too. What happened?
That's not what he needs. That's not what they're like. Maybe Kyle's a little bit more of a dick rider of Bernie, but other people are just saying he's a tool we can use to get further on in the political. We can move the Overton window in our direction.
Out that way.
I know.
I know. It's like fucking. It's textbook. It never works out that way. Same thing with the other side. The other side is now getting the shit they want as he's writing laws to fuck them financially. From a civil liberty standpoint, he might send your kid to war for all we fucking know.
Yeah.
Might get your kid killed fighting somebody that has nothing to do with you.
Yep. Hey, no Viet Cong ever called me nigger. Anyways, all right, let's continue on this video. Thank you for the insights, yeah. Because, I mean, yeah, once again, I was like asleep during that little time, that 4 or 5 year window.
I kind of was too, bro. I kind of was too, but I saw.
But you saw more than me.
It's whatever. I had no one to bring it up to. I'm like, Jordan don't give a shit about this. I got a lot of time on my hands, man. I need content sometimes, so I watch it.
I'll say that if Anthony's right about that, if that's actually this stupid topic is at the forefront for that guy, or people like him, like y'all are dumber than I fucking thought. Way dumber than I thought.
Well, there's a guy in this Discord. He pops in sometimes. His name's Opeth. Has Opeth not brought up these stuff to us?
Yes, he has.
And who's his daddy? Who's one of his daddies?
Hey, Opeth,
Jimmy?
I love you, and I'll argue all day and night with you. But you're fucking wrong about that shit.
You're wrong. Yeah. Sorry,
You're
bro.
wrong. In fact, I think these fools are wrong about trans in sports. And I think there's a better way about it than just outright banning things.
Yeah.
But we like being stupid. So, all right, here we go. Here's more Kyle. He's gonna react to Ron Paul after this, I think. But all right, here we go.
She's a peacenik or whatever. No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying if you're being honest about the options on the table, there was no doubt Trump was going to be the bigger warmonger. Based on his previous record, based on what Biden and Kamala did in office. And then, of course, as soon as Trump got in there, what happened? Suddenly he's talking about stealing Greenland. He's talking about stealing Panama. He's saying we're going to...
I mean, once again, Kyle, if Kamala won, it'd be Dave Smith saying there was no doubt of who the bigger warmonger was going to be.
Yes.
And he'd have
And
every
we would
point
never know
up
what
and
the
down.
other one did.
Exactly.
We would never know what the other one did.
Exactly. He'd have statements and bullet points and talking points up and down the list of all the problems of Kamala Harris's foreign policy. It would be clear as day. And he'd be like, yo, how'd you not see this coming, Kyle? Look at their 4 years. We just had Biden for 4 years. That was basically Kamala, too. How do you not realize?
And then it becomes like I don't know, man. Like, it becomes a jerk section, a fucking circle jerk section where it's like, okay, Kyle, you rightfully diagnosed what Trump was going to do. How then did you turn around and not rightfully diagnose what you had in the current administration and what the person running for it was also going to, like, you can't make the statements of Trump and then turn around and tell me vote Kamala. You can't say that shit. You can't do that shit. That does not make sense. Even the dumbest voter be like, yo, bro, but I'm hurting. How could I vote for Kamala? I'm hurting right now. She ain't gonna do nothing to help me.
I mean, I'm sure there's Bernie people that said, wait, you're not going to hold like a primary? You're just going to let Joe Biden's done, which means there's going to be a new Democratic candidate to face Trump. You're not even going to do a fucking primary?
Right.
You're not going to give Bernie a chance or whoever they wanted to, you're not going to give them a chance to like fucking run? In fact, this might have been one of the best times for Bernie Sanders to run, and they cut it off, right? Like, let's say the support was real for Hillary. Let's say the support's real for Joe Biden, right? Okay, Bernie lost to them. He was close. He was second place, though. He was close, right?
Yeah, both times.
Imagine, like, where he already did better than Kamala. What if he had a chance to go against Kamala for the primary? You should have been pissed. Like, absolutely, like, I'm done with you fools. You won't let this fool run? Unless it's some story where Bernie said, I'm not running this year or something.
I don't think he was running either way. Yeah, I don't think he was running.
That's fair enough. If that was the case, where he's like, I'm just not running.
He didn't say it, but yeah, I don't think he was.
But you should be out and calling all your senators. I don't know what the fuck. Protesting. I don't know. Getting sign-off sheets, getting people to sign up, doing phone calls, whatever you can. Like, yo, Bernie, run now. This is your time. This is your time. There's no dispute. There's no split with Tulsi Gabbard. There's like, it's his time, right? Who else? Who's there? Who's there? Pete Buttigieg? Kamala Harris? They're going to beat Bernie Sanders in a primary? I don't think so. That was actually his time, and he didn't fucking take it, did he?
To be honest,
incredible.
It wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't matter if it was Bernie, because Bernie was gonna have to, on some level, defend Biden's administration. He helped form it.
True.
He was not gonna do what he had to do to beat Trump, and also scorch earth the Biden administration, which is kind of the same position Kamala was in.
Yeah.
So it did not matter, bro. It's essentially a puppet. Right.
That's fair enough.
Whether it be Biden, whether it be Bernie, whether it be Kamala, whoever. If you got the Democratic nomination, even if it was a open convention, you had to run on that dude shit. There was no way they were gonna, because they don't fucking think straight. Everybody thought, honestly, there's no way Trump's winning. That's what everybody thought. They all thought there's no way this guy could win.
Not me.
I'm saying in those circles. They were that delusional where they're like, yo, Trump can't win, bro.
Oh, that is right. Right, Kyle was saying, oh yeah, she's gonna, based on every poll I've read, she's gonna win.
He was saying, "Come on, this guy was gonna get smoked, bro."
I'm like, are you hearing regular people, Kyle, at all, or no?
Yo, and regular people kept saying like the shit Kyle didn't understand. I don't know how he didn't understand that. Regular people were saying, "Yo, no one put her in that position, and then she disappeared for a month and a half. Like no interviews, no nothing. She was gone. Like they named her, then they gave her the nomination, and she was nowhere to be seen. And that was the headline. They're all over the place. Like, yo, where's Kamala at? Where's Kamala at? No, all the right wingers like, yo, where's she at? Why? How the fuck? Trump was saying it. How can she hide for that long without talking? Giving the website had no agenda, no policies, nothing.
It's like someone
Like
losing on
Kamala's
purpose.
shit was, yeah, that shit was sad, bro. It's almost like, yeah, you guys wanted Trump to win or something. You should have just ran Joe. What's the difference? Essentially, you were hiding her like she was Joe. Like she can't talk.
Point is, these Bernie fans better have been fucking loud as shit. They better have been.
No.
I don't know if they were or not, but they should have been like, yo, this is your chance, Bernie. This is it. And now they just move on to the next 4 years. Like, it's your chance in 4 years, Bernie. It's your chance.
He's 84 now. He's 83 now. Ain't no way.
He's still coherent and shit. But, all right.
Will he be in 3 years?
Who knows? All right. Here we go. There's more Kyle.
As soon as Trump got in there, what happened? Suddenly he's talking about stealing Greenland. He's talking about stealing Panama. He's saying we're going to make Canada the 51st state, and if they don't agree, we're going to change the border and steal some more of their land and change their water rights. He's bragging about bombing Yemen, bragging about bombing Somalia. Again, the war with Mexico.
I mean, the Democrats do that. They just don't brag about it.
The authority to do a war unilaterally in Mexico without needing Congress in any way, shape, or form. Another coup
that
in
sounds
Venezuela
like bullshit.
is coming. Just the other day we learned he wants to send our troops to Ecuador because a center-left party might win in the election there. Guys, this isn't a close issue. And so the reason why, Dave, that commenter said that is because they know, this is my guess here, is they know at least some of those things I laid out to you about Trump's record, and they know you didn't draw a red line for any of those things.
People are going to be saying the irony. They're going to be saying that to you too, Kyle. Well, I mean, if any of these guys actually watch your shit, they could redline you, bro. Like, where's your red line at, huh?
He doesn't have.
That's what I did. That's what I did, basically. I'm like, yo, what's your red line, Kyle? Or I did it with Dave Smith, but I've done it before with Kyle, where it's like, how is this better? And if Bernie participated in it, how come someone can't point it out? Why am I an enemy if I point that out? If that guy participated in something that would be a red line for me. How come it's not a red line for you, Kyle? What's going on? But whatever, let's let him keep going.
And so they're like, well, why would he change if Trump invades Iran, right? I mean, this is the question. Shouldn't you already be apologizing? Since...
Oh, shit.
I made this video already, I swear to God.
Yeah, you made this video yesterday.
Correct.
Trump bombed Yemen relentlessly the other day and bragged about it.
You a fan, Kyle?
Shouldn't you already
No,
be
I'm
apologizing when Trump bombed Somalia
I just
a few
released
weeks
it.
back and again bragged about it? Shouldn't you already be apologizing? If Joe Biden was going around saying, we're going to take Greenland, what do you think Dave Smith would say? If Kamala Harris was saying, we're just going to take Greenland, and they go, we don't want you to, and they go, I don't care, we're going to take it. We have to have it. What would you say?
I'd say they were bullshitting and using, like, they're being, what's little Timmy's favorite word? Bombast. He's being bombastic. Actually, I think that's T-Lab's favorite new word, too. Bombastic. All right, here we go.
Kamala said that or Joe Biden said that. My guess is you would be unequivocal in your condemnation of it. And with Trump, it's like, well, if he does this other thing, then I'll apologize.
I mean,
Should you already be
it's
apologizing?
the irony of these statements.
Should you already be apologizing over the things that have already happened, not just in his first term, but now also in his second term? So I think that's where that comes from. Now, again, I don't want to be too hard on the guy because the fact of the matter is, this is better
That's what I say
than
to Kyle. Like, man, I don't be too hard on Kyle.
95% of what you're going to get from MAGA. MAGA, like when Trump pretends to be anti-war, they're like, oh yeah, we love that, we're anti-war. And then the second Trump flips and is pro-war, they're like, oh yeah, we love that too, actually, we're pro-war now.
He's right about that.
Is he right about that? That's not what I've been seeing. That has not been what I've been seeing.
MAGA people are not on board.
What did fucking even mainstream in the government already? Marjorie Taylor Greene. What'd she say? This is not. This is not an America.
I need more than that. That's one person, and
That's one. No, but that's not your internet user, right? That's someone who's who's supposed to follow the party line, right? And she went against the party line to say like, "Yo."
But I need more than one statement. I need continuous attacks on that. Where she or
But
continuous.
none of them are going to do that, right? Kyle's not going to
Huh?
do. Is Kyle a continuous attack guy? I don't think so, unless it's Republican.
On what? No. I'm just saying, MAGA's. I already know Kyle's piece of shit. I'm just saying, one singular statement is not enough for me.
Okay.
To be honest.
People slowly turning on Donald Trump.
If I hear later on, be like, oh, maybe I was wrong or something. Like, I have to wait and see that doesn't happen later.
Hey, that's you know what? That's fair enough. But I'll tell you this: if let's say there's someone who's a grifter, and they're trying to read the tea leaves, right? They're trying to figure out where's the audience going to go, so I can go there first, and then get all that audience, right? I'll get more money, I'll get more audience members, yada yada yada, right? Maybe I lose a little bit of audience, but I'll gain way more at the end, right? Let's say they're a psychopathic Oprah type of motherfucker, and they're like, yo, let me preemptively go against Trump for the sake of getting this future audience that is now being created in real time. I'm telling you, these content creators are all starting to... Even Crowder has to give a tacit critiques about something like Israel first type stuff, right? I'm telling you, bro. They have to start leaning in these directions because the fans are starting to swing that way. I think it's pretty obvious. It's as obvious as the way I thought Trump was going to run over Kamala Harris. I was like, that's pretty obvious that's going to happen, in my opinion. But, yeah, I think they are. I think a lot of quote-unquote MAGA are turning on him. I'm seeing these fucking hardcore, like, family first, religion, America first, all that shit. Right? The typical mega church Republican voter is like, yo, I can't support what we're doing here. Right? Or the idea, the free speech things and all that stuff. Or conquering other territories. Or even saying that he's going to do it. I'm telling you, man, the tide is swinging and will swing. But, all right, here we go.
To get from MAGA. MAGA, that like when Trump pretends to be anti-war, they're like, oh yeah, we love that, we're anti-war. And then the second Trump flips and is pro-war, they're like, oh yeah, we love that too, actually, we're pro-war now. And so...
I'll say that back in the day. I'll say that when he's running, yes, that seemed to be the case. But now it seems like there's a tide turning, Kyle. I really do believe that. I could be absolutely wrong. I'm not using polls. I'm not looking at numbers. I'm just looking at what I'm seeing when I hear people talking, and then I read comments of... Like, if I'm on, like, Twitter, right? Not only will I read, like, a tweet from, let's say, a content creator, whether they're for or against what Trump is doing, right, in a particular topic, I'll read the comments. And the comments are seemingly, overwhelmingly, like, kind of one-sided. Of, like, yo, yeah, you're right, this is not America first. Or, if it's someone who's, like, you know, Alex Jones types, Trump is doing the right thing, he's saving the country. David Icke is following this full... Not that David Icke is MAGA at all. But he is a considered prominent conspiracy theory. Like, he's a daddy compared to fucking Alex Jones, right? Even though people will consider Alex Jones that. But people who follow Alex Jones also follow David Icke because of all the things he's ever called out. And this David Icke is following him around everywhere. Like, yo, you're full of shit, Alex. Everywhere he goes, every tweet, like, look at his fucking bootlicking Alex Jones. And guess what? The comments are, like, they're following through it. At first, they were like, David, why are you just criticizing everything he's like? Go on a show. Why are you sitting here? You're sitting there criticizing. And as the weeks have gone by, and every event has been playing out, and the way Elon's been behaving and all that shit, and the wars and the domestic policy in regards to censorship and shit like that, I'm telling you, like, they're starting to swing towards David's end. I'm telling you. There's at least some topic where they're like, this is not America first. And they start somewhat rebelling in words on Twitter. So there's a tide turning, and Trump hasn't showed that he's slowing down in regards to that. But here we go.
So I think that's where that comes from. Now, again, I don't want to be too hard on the guy, because the fact of the matter is, this is better than 95% of what you're going to get from MAGA. MAGA, that like when Trump pretends to be anti-war,
I think he's
they're
muddying
like,
the
yeah,
water.
we love that. We're
It
anti-war.
really
the
is.
second Trump flips and is pro-war, they're like, oh yeah, we love that too. Actually, we're pro-war now. And so
I think Kyle's kind of muddying
I
the
have
water.
less patience for that than I do for Dave Smith, right? Just the people who totally rent their mind out to him. They're in a fucking cult. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, right? So
I mean, QAnon.
I don't want to be too hard on him.
Even that's
What I do
losing
wanna say
weight,
is,
bro.
like,
It's losing
why
power
were none of
too.
these other things enough for you to say? And I'm not saying you had to vote for Kamala or vote for Biden in 2020. At the very, you could have just said, you know what? I'll vote for the Libertarian candidate, or I'll sit out completely, right? So that's really the issue, and that's why I think the commenter said that. But I also don't doubt that if Trump invades Iran or bombs Iran, I do think he'll do it. But I guess my point is, you already should have called him out. You already should have apologized, because
Well, goddamn.
right now he's gearing up to, without a doubt, be a way bigger warmonger than George W. Bush and Dick Cheney. I don't even think that.
Once again, see how that statement sounds crazy? When Bernie was saying it, when he was running, Donald Trump is the most dangerous president in our lifetime. Like, that sounds crazy, considering what we've seen from Bush and Obama before him, right? It's batshit crazy to me. Yeah, Kyle said, yeah, that's fucking crazy. That's batshit crazy. There's another point I had, but I fucking lost it. No.
That's my point is, you already should have called him out. You already should have apologized, because he's right now he's gearing up to, without a doubt, be a way bigger warmonger than George W. Bush and Dick Cheney.
Okay, I remember what I was going to say. Here's the thing, Kyle. Just to push back on Kyle a little bit here. Pause. Listen. When Trump does these neocon, he did it for 4 years, right? Kyle said that, so it must be true, right? Kyle said it. I'm agreeing with Kyle on that point. For Trump's first 4 years, he did all the neocon shit. George W. Bush, in his first 4 years, did all the neocon shit. Guess what Obama did following Bush? Guess what Biden did following Trump? They continued on with their policies. So it's like, I don't know. Like, what do you? What do you say to that? Like, what do you say to Kyle? Like, it's like, yo, Kyle. Yeah, sure. Trump's going all this way, and guess what? His rhetoric in regards to Iran is crazy, right? But what we've seen from apparently every at least this is just tighten the window to the war on terror, like era of presidents. They just continue on with each other's policy. They actually continue on and up the ante. Like I said, when Obama killed Americans overseas, that set the table for what Trump did when he killed an American overseas. Right? When Bush invades Iraq, it allows Obama to stay in Iraq or Afghanistan and then spread to other Middle Eastern countries in the name of the war on terror. Obama spreading to all these other countries allows Trump to spread into these other countries and more. And up the ante on bombing. Because guess what? Obama was doing it already. Which allows Biden to come in and continue those same exact wars, up the ante in Ukraine, which Trump also fucking funded. Right? Trump gave them money and fucking weapons. Biden went crazy with weapons and money. And beefed that fucking war up. Along with Israel, Gaza. And now Trump's coming in, continuing all of it too. Is he going at breakneck speed? Sure. But it's just they're continuations of each other. And Kyle just apparently does not get that. I don't know how he doesn't see that. After he points out all these little problems here. How do you not fucking get that? If you do get that, how do you say to support one over the other? It doesn't make sense at that point, right? Logically. Like, oh, well, Biden will just do a soft power version of Donald Trump. Even though, once I say soft power, I don't take it that way, but someone might say that on the surface because of the numbers, right? how many dead, how many locations, yada yada yada, how many drone strikes, yada yada yada. Someone will say one is better than the other. So I'm just, nicely saying soft power, foreign policy objectives. But in reality, it is families dying, innocents dying all over the fucking world. And Kyle's going to tell us, well, it's only one family versus two. It could have been two families. Meanwhile, nobody actually knows that. And by the way, I consider a family in Ukraine equal to a family in Yemen or Gaza or Israel or anywhere. But once again, these guys, if they start creating morals to stand on, it's like impossible to do for these political characters. Because if they create morals to stand on, you can't. As a content creator, you'll look like a fucking fool when you abandon it. For anyone who's been following me for a while now, if some war pops up and you hear me like, yeah, we got to go to war with them, bro, we got to do it. I hope you're fucking like the hat on your head spins, right? Where it's like Jordan wouldn't say that. I want you to have that feeling. Like he wouldn't say that. I want you to have that feeling and know that shit, so that if it ever happens, like what the fuck? Yo, you okay, man? Like it should beg questions, right? But these political fucks, they don't create those standards. They create political standards and strategies which hold no moral ground because it's based on bullshit in the first place. It's not based on integrity and morals. It's based on teams. Teams you hope, like, let's be real. I'll be nice and say they think it's going to be better, but let's be real. It's more like they hope it's going to be better. I'd be surprised if these fools fucking sit around hoping the other guys do bad. I wouldn't be surprised if motherfuckers that play these political games do that shit. Like, man, I hope this guy fucks up so that it gives my team a chance. Maybe because they mean well and they really need Bernie Sanders in there or AOC or someone like that. Maybe that's their main reason, but at the same time, it's like, bro, that's like schemy ass shit, bro. I don't know. I don't know. I want to see the person around who doesn't need a god, a politician, a whoever to check them on their morals. They check themselves already before anyone gets there. They ask themselves first, am I fucking up? Before anyone even gets there. Thank God for metric. Check out metric. Hey, what song is this? Lie, Lie, Lie by Metric. There it is. All right, here we go.
I don't even think that's debatable at this point, given everything he's saying and what he's already done. All right, so now let's switch gears here. Ron Paul. Ron Paul's back. So the other day he went after Trump for his foreign policy and bombing Yemen. That was based. Now here's Ron Paul, the OG
he did get
libertarian.
He got sick or something, right? I don't know. But all right, there you go. Ron Paul's back.
That was based. Now here's Ron Paul, the OG libertarian, and he is going to talk about free speech and what's been going on with that.
Unfortunately, the U.S. government has not always been in accord with this sentiment and has many times in our history been at war with our freedom of speech. From the Alien and Sedition Acts at the beginning of our republic, to Abraham Lincoln's war on speech, to the jailing of anti-war activists during both World War I and II, the political class is all for free speech unless it is threatening to the political class. Recently, a new front has been opened in the war on the free speech, and it is one that Americans must take seriously.
All right, shout out to, what's his name, Humanist Report? Yeah, I was going through some of my old videos, and I saw this guy was celebrating the banning of Donald Trump on Twitter back in the day. That's an old video. Shout out to him for that, because, damn, look where we're at now. You fucking dummy. I called you dumb then. You're dumb now. Like, now, like, granted, he won't bring it up, right? He won't bring up, like, oh, I was happy this guy got banned because it supported my political agenda. Now he's like, Granted, it is what it is. He's not going to know who I am. He didn't see the video. Let's just be honest. But had to be said, like, yo, and you can catch these things in real time. I'm just saying.
Well, he's gonna say that he was justified because Trump got banned for the January 6th shit, inciting violence.
Ah, okay.
That's what he's gonna justify it by saying that, which I
shit.
still think is bullshit. But
Oh wow, because it looked entirely politically motivated. So, just like the banning and expulsion of students, that looks politically motivated.
yeah, Ron Paul had a stroke on his live on the show. That's what happened.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I think he's good now. Though.
I just reacted to a video of his recently. So, good. Stay around as long as you can, Ron Paul. Unless it's time, you're just like, fuck it, I'm done with this shit. I respect that too. But yeah, once again, if your principle is about, if you have a principle about free speech, it should, or any principle, it shouldn't be translated through a political lens. It should be apparent everywhere. Right? It means not only do you not want students to get banned from a school or deported out of a country for protesting something they think is wrong. And they're not using violence to do it, they're just using words, right? Same thing goes with social media. You shouldn't be cheering for someone to get banned because you don't like the way they talk. Same thing goes on another level. If you're a parent, you shouldn't be, shutting your kid up, right? If they have ideas, thoughts about the world that are different than yours, you shouldn't be like shutting them up about it. So it's like, it should be, once again, we're in the world of politics where these fools are allowed to be blatant hypocrites and they don't get in trouble for it because it's put through a political lens instead of a moral lens of like, if this is your moral, it applies everywhere. It's supposed to be a part of you. But
well, I think the cardinal sin is supporting a group that's been marginalized and tortured for decades, and then supporting them doing the same thing to the people torturing them. And then from that, if you're okay with that, you're okay with any type of hypocrisy, in my opinion.
Essentially, because that would, like you just said, would showcase it's not actually about your morals, which means do not walk out here and pretend to be a good person. Do not pretend to be a good person. Like say, I'm not here to be a good person. I'm here for my team to win. If a moral works one way but not the other, it's not a moral then. It's team playing, political bullshit. And my personal antidote for the way the political scenario is in this world is to get rid of that shit, bro. Get rid of team playing. Expel that. Let team playing be natural, not some sort of coordinated effort to win an election or something, or to win a fan over, or to win a viewer over. Make it an actual moral you stand on that can't be changed, moved by whatever. Like really study it, whatever. Point is, here's more Ron Paul. Like, it's too frustrating and annoying, but here we go.
Opened in a war on the free speech, and it is one that Americans must take seriously. On university campuses across the country, students, both American and foreign guests, have taken to protesting U.S. support for Israel's actions in Gaza.
By the way, there's not a single conservative Republican that I've seen make this argument. Ron Paul's a libertarian. Leftists are making this argument all over the place. Ron Paul's a libertarian. He's making this argument now. The right does not give a fuck about pro-Palestine college kids, anti-genocide college kids. They get kicked out of the country. They get sent to an El Salvador slave labor camp. They're in ICE custody in a state that's not their own. They don't give a fuck. They're cheerleading it. They don't care. Trump says this is good. They're like, this is good.
Where tens of...
Okay, that part, I mean, there's a lot of people complaining about what was happening with that. But it was more so about, what was it? The fucking rabbi that did like a Senate hearing and shit like that. I've seen Republicans crying about that shit. Like, no. It's not enough to be, not enough to not be anti-Semitic. The point is to be anti-Semitic. And that became like a quote people are now saying, and like, even Crowder said that, like, oh, I disagree. Matt Walsh said, I disagree with that too. Like, it is what it is. So I guess there is a line for these foolish devil worshippers. Anyways, here we go.
Of thousands of innocent civilians have been killed. The political class in the United States is determined to defend Israel from its critics and has responded to these protests by threatening and blackmailing the universities if they do not crack down on speech the power that be do not like. Both President Biden and Trump have used the power of the U.S. government funding to demand a crackdown on speech they don't like.
All right, look, to be fair, there's an element of truth in that. The Democrats did not in any way, shape, or form object when they were sending in the cops to crack some skulls at the pro-Palestine protests. In fact, many of them supported it. But at the same time, these things are not equal because Mahmoud Khalil was not arrested by ICE and disappeared under the Biden administration. Didn't happen, right?
One less family died. One less family died. Got it.
It's all connected. What Biden did opened the door for what Trump did.
Oh, really? Wow. And you can almost tie that right back to George W. Bush.
Yes.
Who wasn't doing that, right? He wasn't rounding up people and disappearing them, right? In America, at least. He wasn't taking away visas and green cards, right? Right?
Yep.
So he's kind of doing what Biden was doing, right? Okay.
Real quick, too. Imagine in a world where we went from Patriot Act to we just abduct people now. We went from pre-Patriot Act to Patriot Act to we don't even got to go to the courts no more. Just take them.
And they all set the precedent for that. Same goes with the bombings overseas, where there's no, you're getting no congressional approval for any of these fucking actions. You just do them, right?
Nope.
How did Obama start in Iraq, Afghanistan, and start spreading into other countries without any type of congressional approval for it? Like, well, the war on terror.
Started with Bush getting Congress to was it Congress or the Senate to okay the invasion?
Well, yeah. There was an can I say that word? Authorizational use of military force.
Yeah.
Is that right? AUMF? AUMF? I think that's it. Like, oh, well, we don't need Congress. Just fucking, it's all the war on terror, so we can just do this. They're terrorists. We call them terrorists. We can do this. They're terrorist supporters. We can just do this.
Then you add on top of that private-public partnership where Elon is the manifestation of Halliburton and Cheney. And Halliburton and Cheney were the manifestation of whatever came before that, whether it be the Gulf War, whether it be Iran-Contra, so on and so forth.
Isn't it brilliant?
Then you add on top of that the CPAC.
What about CPAC?
Is it my bad? Is it CPAC or is it whatever it was where like you were money and speech?
Money and speech?
Money is speech.
Okay. The corporations are now people.
Yeah, where it's like, yo, these guys were getting paid under the table. Now you can pay them up front. All legal.
One after the other. Oh, Lord.
It's like, how do they always find a way to make it worse? We never find a way to make it better. We find a way to make it worse.
And I'm telling you right now, the attempt at team playing that Kyle's doing, and once again, forgive me if I'm wrong about this, but I don't think this is about being correct. I think it's about making sure it's known that the other team's worse than one team's worse than the other, type of thing. Like, that's his attempt of doing that. And and once again, if you just do a little bit of studying, it comes off as not credible when he does shit like this. And I mean, dick riders that go along with this, it's like straight up ignoring real problems, right? Because it's filtered through one team or another. You're batshit crazy to me, and you probably have the face that Kyle has on right now. You're a dick licker. You're probably a dick licker. Let's keep it real. But anyways, here we go.
Yeah.
But one is worse. What was the Obama thing? One less concentration camp. It's one less. All right, here we go.
Hundreds of students.
I know we torture some people,
of
but
their residency for fucking thought crimes for being against the carpet bombing of kids under Biden. So you have to two thoughts at the same time. Biden and the Democrats' policy on this was not good. In fact, it was bad. But the Republican Trump policy on this are flat out fascist, completely and utterly fascist, completely destroying due process in the Constitution. They are not the same. And we need to be past this era of like, meh, they're roughly equal. No, they're not. No, they're fucking not. No.
No. See, I'm not arguing from the position of, they're kind of they're the same. Like, no, it's coming from the position of they're both immoral. It's both wrong. They're equally wrong. Killing one kid is wrong. Killing two kids is wrong. Equally. But Kyle's a dumb fuck playing strategy. Once again. Like, this is fucking, like, mind-melting people to vote for one side over another, which is what he's priming them for, right? He's priming them for that. Let's be real.
It's like, yeah, it's like Trump cuts his right arm off. Joe Biden cuts his wrist off. Who's worse?
Hey, man.
Like, holy shit, dude.
If you're coming from this perspective, like, keep it real. If you're saying Trump's gonna kill 2,000 people, and Biden or say Kamala's only gonna kill 1,000, I want you to pick out the 1,000 people, Kyle. I want you to name 1,000 people in those countries. Like, okay, these are the guys we'll kill. It'll be okay if these guys die. You name them. I mean, innocent civilians, by the way, not combatants. I want you to name them one by one, all 1,000 of them, like metaphorically, like name them. Like, okay, I'm okay with these guys dying.
No, but it goes deeper than that. You're gonna name them, and then you're gonna tell me the policy I should consider passing domestically that I in no way, shape, or form will promise will pass. So you're gonna kill people in the hopes I consider a policy, not pass a policy, consider a policy.
There you go.
That's essentially what he's been doing, as long as I've seen him.
I mean, I think
It's just getting worse and worse as he's becoming more and more honest about it.
well, maybe he got more and more less patient, maybe, because there used to be a time where what Biden or let's be real, if George Bush is doing the same thing, like there'd be a time where Kyle might call it that's fascistic. It's fascist-like, right? But maybe the window moved to where now Kyle is like, oh, that's better than that. This it's bad, but it's better than that type shit. I'm like, oh god, don't call it better, man. They're both equally bad, but one materially will result in one thing, and one will materially result in another. I'll give you that if you're trying to assess the material results of something, but as far as qualitatively, they're equal. They are equal, Kyle. But he has a nipple ring, so. All right, here we go.
No, they're not. The false equivalence lie has to die, and it has to die ASAP.
President Trump recently pooling...
For what? For what purpose, Kyle? So that the Democrats win. That'd be his only what's his actual reason for that? What was his actual reason for the false equivalent to die? What does he mean by that? Why does it need to die? For what reason?
Because he wants a single payer that's going to become a public option, and he's going to look the other way as Kamala kills 100,000 kids. He doesn't even get what he wants, and is willing to let people die for it.
Well, I'm not going to sit here and say, like, Kyle, you were the cause of all these people dying. I'm not going to say that. I'm not saying you're saying that either. I'm just saying, like, but at the same time, it's like, you are well aware, based on all your studying. This is your job, Kyle. You look into politics for a living. You look into these stories and all that shit. Like, people, like, there are people who are going to die when this person gets in the presidency, just based on foreign policy alone. Someone's going to fucking die. All right? I just want him to like just say like how many is okay for him. That's all I wanted. Like, just say a number, Kyle. How many people dying is okay for you? Where it's like, this is worth it.
And there's no way to clean it up. They're
Yes.
they're gonna have to make a press conference, do some type of announcement where they're telling you they're killing them. There's no ambiguity about it.
Yeah.
And you have to tell me the other guy's would be
Yeah.
worse. That's the only thing you have to tell me.
And you have to, let's be real, name it as if you're doing this from a moral lens, name it as a moral sacrifice. Like, yo, this person's gonna do harm in the world, and I'm gonna do what Dave Smith should have did. I'm going to apologize before I pull the lever for the next Democratic candidate. I'm going to apologize for doing it because I know there's someone who I don't know halfway across the world that's going to die because of this. Right? I mean, it's probably they're going to die. There's people that are going to die either way, right? But let's say it's less people. Well, now you're like getting selective of what people will be dying in this situation. You know, theoretically speaking. Yeah. So it's like, wear it on your fucking t-shirt. I know innocent people, men, women, children are going to die if this person's in office, but I have to support them anyways because this guy will kill more of them. Like, let it be super known. Do not campaign and make them look peachy and sweet all of a sudden. Let them know, like, the realities of what they're doing. Like, show them your 1,000-yard stare of, like, some soldier that, like, fuck, there's a kid there, but he's got a rocket launcher. I gotta shoot. Show them that thing, Kyle. I want you to take it that serious. Because that's what it would be for me. It would be devastating. But these guys are like willy-nilly in their nice little houses and shit. It's like it's bizarre. It's fucking weird. But all right. Here we go.
Fly has to die, and it has to die ASAP.
President Trump recently pooling
$400
million in federal funding
for
Columbia University if they don't silence the protesters. The real scandal is that nearly every U.S. university, both public and private, is government funded in the first place. But for politicians to use the power of the purse to deny students the right to express themselves as long as peaceful just adds insults to injury. Last week, a Turkish PhD student at Tufts University was arrested on the street.
I gotta be honest, he's talking more about this than Democratic politicians. Ron Paul is. Look, that's the thing, right? This is why I say love-hate relationship. That when Ron Paul was in D.C., him and Bernie would often work together on areas where they agreed. They would often work together. Cutting Pentagon spending, ending the drug war, things like that, they would work together. So when it comes to, like, building political alliances with people who you otherwise disagree with.
Did Ron Paul support the kill list? Did he support Obama's kill list? I don't think he did that. Anyways. I need Kyle to get on camera and say Ron Paul outflanks Bernie Sanders on foreign policy by a mile. By a mile. In fact, he might have to call it he's to the left of Bernie Sanders on foreign policy. He might have to say that himself. His reasons maybe seem more right-leaning, but right, where it's like money spent or whatever. But as far as the actual policy of like what he would do, he has to say, or what he claims he would do, he would have to say that he's to the left of Bernie. Can Kyle admit that? Would he be allowed to admit that? Like, if you can't admit that on this minuscule of a level where it's just like, yeah, sure, whatever. If you can't go there like that, then, like, what are you going to do if this guy actually runs? Like, you would fucking put your head in the fucking sand when he does bad things. Like you told all of us to fucking do. Go YellBro. How come when I say that, it never echoes? Damn it. Were you saying something, Jesse? God. No?
No, just 1,000% agree on that point about Ron being basically more opposed to the wars.
Yeah, as far as words out loud goes, Ron Paul's quote unquote to the left of Bernie Sanders on foreign policy. Maybe not the reasons, but like, you know, actual policy, yeah. But can Kyle say that out loud, or would he call himself the enemy at that point? No, I'm the enemy. we need to help Bernie out, not make him look bad. Anyways, here we go.
The libertarian Social Democrat or Democratic Socialist Alliance is undefeated, right? You're going to get way more out of that than you're ever going to get from anybody in the cult, the fascist cult that is MAGA.
Includes government agents for reportedly simply writing an editorial in her university newspaper expressing her views on the Israeli-Palestine conflict. She faces deportation from the country, and she is not alone. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has openly
Bernie still
bragged
can't
about
call it
sending
a genocide.
hundreds of
It's
students
hilarious.
home because they express a political position he disagrees with. Others, including American citizens, have been expelled from their schools and have even had their degrees rescinded for peacefully expressing a political position that powerful people in Washington disagree with.
Also, like I just did the Glenn Greenwald video yesterday, where the people that are actually allegedly that are recommending these lists to Homeland Security and whoever, right, to get these kids fucking deported from the country and shit like that. Allegedly, these guys are buying whatever the fuck, like ad spots and spending money so that when you do Google these guys' names, allegedly, like let's say for like a job interview, right, and they look for your like maybe social media profiles, they try to get some background information on you, whatever the fuck, right? When they go through it, they see they see that shit first, like, oh, anti-Semitic person trying to, they hate Jewish people, yada yada yada, whatever. Like, god damn, that's dark. That's very dark. I really recommend checking out the Glenn Greenwald video. Not my, but actually Glenn's video. Like you just YouTube Glenn Greenwald and find that shit. Like, god damn it, that's fucking crazy. Although I already knew shit like that before from T-Lav, but still, check both of them out, T-Lav and Glenn Greenwald. All right, here we go.
You may also agree with the political position of these students, but to cheer their punishment by the U.S. government is to turn your back on the founding principles of this country. Freedom of speech is a natural right, not reserved for American citizens, but for all humanity.
That, again, the only sorts of people on the right you're going to hear making that argument are libertarians. Because like this, everybody in MAGA was like, oh, wait, no, free speech doesn't apply to undocumented immigrants, to legal immigrants, to green card holders, to permanent residents. It just doesn't apply.
I need to know who he's talking about. What if he's lying about this because he needs the people to realize, like, look how bad, like, I don't know. What if it's a political scheme thing? Like, because I have not seen. I need to like look into this. Maybe he's right, and I'm just blind to it. But I need to see some evidence of this, man. Like everyday Trump supporters, like, yeah, deport him. Yeah, I'm with that. Yeah, I love, like according to what's popular, like a popular saying in their lane, seemingly what I'm seeing from the outside. Once again, maybe it's not a poll about Greenland or something, but what I've been seeing in the politically active people on social media and YouTube and all that shit, right, is people say, like, I don't work for a fucking Israel, so why the fuck are we, like, sure, get the leftists out of here for, but they mean, like, Black Lives Matter and Antifa and shit like that, which they can't actually just deport. But if you're doing this for the sake of Israel, fuck you. We don't fucking work for them. That ain't America first. Like that's what I've been seeing. So I need to find out who the fuck Kyle's been listening to, or where he's getting this notion from. That it's only libertarians saying we're mad about the anti-free speech stuff. But all right, here we go.
Apply. Why? Because we say so. Even though there's literal fucking case law on this where it does apply to residents.
And it has been a natural right worth defending for nearly 250 years. First, they came for foreign students expressing controversial positions, and many Americans cheered.
By the way, controversial positions like stop bombing babies, stop starving a population of 2.3 million people, or at least it used to be 2.3 million people before they killed hundreds of thousands of them.
Because they were not foreign and did not like the opinions. But make no mistake, this war on speech will not end with only foreigners being punished. It never does.
That's right.
Thanks for listening.
That's right. That's right. By the way, he's not done. Ron Paul's on a bit of a roll here. Here he is talking about foreign policy again.
One of the things we're going to be talking about is the foreign policy of Trump. And it's not exactly a message of peace and constitution, but it reminded me of all the promises of George H.W.
Because
I remember.
Is Kyle following me or something, bro? I'm just doing all the videos I did already. How dare you? And yet Kyle fans shit on me for some reason. Anyways, little dick licks, little dick riders. I'll never forgive you for that shit, you little dick riders. You'll forever be on my shit list. You're like Dubster. You're on my shit list forever. I mean, I'll be nice and be friends with you and crack jokes and stuff, but I'm gonna shit on you too. I will remind you of your dick licking days. So you know. Anyways.
He was very promising. We were not to be the policemen of the world and all that. What did we end up with?
Humble foreign policy is what he promised.
Yeah, so this is interesting, right? Because I've always said this about Trump is like, even on the campaign trail, half the time he would say anti-war things, and then half the time he would say pro-war things. And honestly, the reason why that worked so well is because all the pro-war people would just say, oh, that's the thing he really believes when he said pro-war stuff. And all the anti-war people would be like, that's the thing he really believes when he says anti-war stuff, right?
That is a great fucking point. That's a great point by Kyle right there.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to say that too. Like, that's actually, spot on.
Yeah.
But it's kind of what you were saying, where it's just great marketing.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, Anthony. Everyone has done it with when they're these team players. They've all been doing that. Like Kyle literally made a video saying, like, if you're getting Bernie's way, you're the enemy, essentially. So it's like, if you bring up bad things about Bernie, you're the enemy. If you bring up good things about Bernie, you're the good guy. You're the team. You're on our team. And it's like, you're doing the same thing they're doing. Maybe it looks a little bit more sophisticated, but like that's the same essential thing, I think. But okay, well, Trump was a little bit of a weird phenomenon. So, but I think a lot of political people do this. But that was a great point he made with that one.
No, well, I think Trump realized that he well, not that he realized. Before I say that, no Republican really, before Trump, I feel, put Ron Paul to the side. Maybe one or two other. They don't come to mind, though. No Republican will go against a foreign policy decision that led towards us taking something. But Trump did do that with Iraq. And he did that in what did he do that? He did that in a debate.
The primaries? With little Jeb boy, little Jebby boy.
Yeah, he ended Jeb Bush's run, basically.
Yeah. Which is why I understood that. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'm saying he did that, and it's hard for me not to think, as him being a savvy fucking marketing guy, he saw the popularity in him saying that, and he leaned into it in 2016. And now he's perfected it. Yeah. Wait, go ahead.
I'm saying he had a team of motherfuckers scouring the internet. I'm not gonna lie. Like Trump's first run, he had a team doing that.
All these guys have teams, but he broke with conventional Republican speak on foreign policy. He did do that.
Yeah, no. Well, everyone has teams, but he had a team that was doing the like motherfuckers that are now questioning Israel, right? Those guys, like they're getting in front of the topic so that when it does blow up, right, they'll be like, "Oh, I was making content about Israel this whole time, bro. Come watch me." Yeah, Candace Owens
I'm saying then nobody did that except him.
Anthony. That's what I'm saying. Like he had a team of people that scoured the internet and they could forecast where things were going, right? That's why he's like, Mr. Trump, make sure you mention WikiLeaks during your speech. WikiLeaks, I love WikiLeaks. I love them.
I got you. Yeah,
he probably didn't even know Assange was attached to that.
Yeah, I guess somebody told him to do that. He didn't do that on his own.
He's got teams, bro, that were scouring the internet. The QAnon thing, he could never officially accept it, right? And say like, yeah, I love QAnon. He could never actually say that. But he had make sure you could tailor speeches a certain way to make them feel good and get out there and vote for him, right? For sure, that happened.
Yeah, I'm just saying, but that phenomenon that he did, I'm just saying, however it was, whether it be I don't think it was organic. True. I don't think it was organic. That's kind of what you're telling me. Like, no, he had someone tell him, "Yo, this is the way to." But that strategy was very captivating, even the people that don't vote Republican.
Yeah.
And he himself and whoever was telling him to do that saw value in that, and they've only cultivated that further when he ran again in 2024, where he
Mhm.
now knew how to strike a balance between saying quasi anti-war shit and pro-war shit.
Well, that was the little what does David I call it, totalitarian tiptoe, to where you start in this like oh my god,
That's
the
a
way this
great.
guy's talking is full
Yeah.
blown anti-war shit, like Trump's first
Yes. Yeah.
aberration.
That's a
Then he
great
slowly
word.
started walking them in a different direction, slowly.
Yes. Totalitarian tiptoe. I like that.
That is all credit to David Icke on that one.
That's a good one.
That fool was saying that in the fucking 90s. He was using those words. But yeah,
Well, this guy perfected that shit, dude, to a T.
I don't think he did though. It's like he did. You're right. He did, but he didn't.
As far as anyone else in that arena, yeah, he did.
No. He took advantage of dumb people. I'm gonna be real with you, bro. Sorry, Trump voters. Sorry, Trump supporters. If you're still on the Trump train, God bless you. But I'm sorry, you're dumb for falling for that shit. It's like it is what it is, and it's not
Well, okay,
good.
no, you're right though. That's where the argument I made earlier actually comes into play. Of they use that to masquerade what they really wanted.
Yeah, the
Like when
first
all
run was
else
fine.
fails, look at his foreign policy. He's not a war hawk. He's trying to get us out of war. He's trying to save America.
The deep state's trying to
So
keep him in
actually,
there.
yeah. So actually, you're right. That work he used that to work off the domestic policy. You're right. No, you're definitely right. And these people fell for it. But it's not that they fell. That's where my contention is. They didn't fall for it. In some type of deep thought in their minds, they use that as a vessel to get the domestic culture shit
That's so much
accepted.
way later, Anthony. I mean, well, sure, that's part of it. With the content creators,
No,
that
no,
was
no, no.
definitely a thing. But
It was more of a thing this time, for sure. The first time it was more. It seemed not genuine, but less. What's the word? Less sadistic, I guess. No, I see what you're saying. You're right. It was not the same in 2016, but this time around, it was 100% used as like a battering ram to shoo away anyone that's gonna talk shit about Trump. Like, well, look, he's trying to get us out of these wars. He's trying to get our money back.
I
This and that.
mean, the actual resemblance. This is why I didn't. Here's the thing: when Trump was first running, and based on the rhetoric he was saying, right? I think I was on YouTube. I was on YouTube at the time, I think,
You were on. Yeah, I think so.
and I was like, "Yo, I understand. I understand people that support him based on the rhetoric. The actual rhetoric resembled, quote unquote, he's going to get us out of war shit. I did the same thing with Tulsi Gabbard, a little bit with Bernie Sanders, a little bit of Andrew Yang until like once they give themselves up, I just call it out. Like it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
And Trump fans, I was like, oh, I understand. He's mentioning WikiLeaks, which means like, what does that imply when he mentions WikiLeaks? That means he read through all that. As far as what does it imply? Right? It implies that he read through the emails, which means he knows like this person's a criminal, and when he gets in office, he's going to do something about it. Right? That was implied, right?
That's what he was. Yeah.
Because you'd be in
That's what he was
jail.
implying, and he was basically saying like, I'm gonna lock her up.
Yes. It wasn't just her either. It's a whole bunch of different. That he once again during the primary, what did he bring up? Jeb Bush and his brother's fucking wars, as in like,
Yes.
yo, that's a crime too, right? He's like pointing these things
Yeah.
like, oh fuck, maybe Trump is one of these. Like he's the real deal. I didn't blame anyone for falling for that. I didn't blame anyone for that. Now I said personally, like, uh, I don't trust the guy. But I understand people that do. I understand. And then there was a litmus test, right? It wasn't even. I didn't even use the invade the not invaded, but like the
Syria?
the SEAL team kicking the door, killing innocent civilians and quote unquote a terrorist, right? I didn't even use that.
Yeah.
But when he said the beautiful little babies, and as he's missiling Syria, right? I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
there's your wake up call right there. There it is, right there. This guy with no evidence, or okay, maybe he has evidence, but he didn't present evidence to you, to the audience. The guy who's supposed to be up front, the WikiLeaks fan, remember him? That means he's supposed to be like out in the open, like here's why I'm doing this. Not that he should be like, you would still probably want him to do something else, but at the very least, show the evidence of why you're doing what you're doing. He didn't do that. He just bombed them.
Nope.
I'm like, there's your wake up call. And guess who knew that too? Alex fucking Jones knew that too. And he went on a full fuck you, Trump. Fuck you.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to be this. And then, obviously, he walked it back. I don't think he walked it back. I think he just moved on like nothing happened. And then supported a Venezuelan coup after that, right? Where it's like, oh, shit. Someone came and talked to you, didn't they? That's what happened, Alex?
And he literally used that over and over again. Soleimani, he killed American. No evidence presented.
Exactly.
He just said it. He killed it. Julian Assange. Oh, he endangered soldiers' lives. No evidence presented. Just did it.
Mm-hmm.
Over and over and over again. It's
He
lie
meant.
after. It's like, yo. It's like it's one thing. It's one thing if like, okay, he says I believe this. It's not I believe this. He's saying I know this, but he won't tell the American people how he knows this.
Let's put it this way: there's no way you're a fan of WikiLeaks, but also a fan of, just following the military-industrial complex in the war on terror. There's no way you're in favor of that, and you're not in favor of those two things at the same time. That's not reality. That's not real, right?
No.
So that's why I said, as soon as he shot those missiles at fucking Syria, I'm like, that's it. And now you're done with. Now you're like, okay, he's not the guy we thought he was. Get him out of here. That should have been their instant reaction. But granted, that's not what happened with most of these fans. But at the same time, I gave them a chance before. Like, okay, he's saying the quote-unquote right things. Yes, I understand.
Inherently, these guys seem to be super selfish, and they wrap the selfishness. I'm talking about not just MAGA supporters, but the right in general. Not saying that the Democrats aren't
Sure,
selfish.
but that wasn't
Of
what
course
was
they are.
happening, Anthony. I'm telling you, that was not what was happening.
What happened?
That is not what was happening back then. I'm telling you right now. It was Ben Shapiro like, Trump's bad. Steven Crowder, Trump's bad. Like these guys were like, it was the neocons saying, we don't like this guy here.
Yeah.
Right? Whole bunch of neocons saying, we don't like that. Like, I understood why people were there at that point. After a certain point, I mean, you probably could have told after his cabinet hirings, right?
Yeah.
That probably should have told you. But once again, hey, I'll leave room. I won't leave room for me, but I'll leave. I understand for other people.
But I can see how they don't. That doesn't quantify because, all right. First of all, you gotta look at the voting block. There are those that don't know anything about anything. They just voted for the guy. Then there are those who quasi or full on agree or tangentially support the conservative movement and the conservative quote unquote principles.
Yeah.
And when you see his cabinet being picked, you're no never mind because you're already kind of in that mode with the trickle down fucking policies. Where no, you got to get these titans of industry and this and that, and deregulate things so that we can make more money. And all of that is me saying it is a selfish, self-centered way of thinking about things.
Sure, but they also got co-op. Like, oh, how do I explain this? Because the Trump phenomenon, it seemed like on the surface, it looked like the first like internet victory for an election, like the internet won the election type of shit.
Yes.
Because all the shit of reasons to vote for the guy was all internet based. It wasn't definitely not mainstream media based, right? It was internet based. But then after a while, I think the good old boys recognize he's like, oh, he's one of us, or they already knew, one or the other.
Melded together.
And then that's when Crowder and Shapiro and these types of people were like, yeah, Trump is good. Go vote for Trump. The woke left, they turned it into that narrative at those moments. Like, yeah, the woke left, like, yeah, we're going with Trump. Right? They all jumped aboard. All these people jumped aboard on this shit.
Yes.
And it's like they co-opted it. And then they turned it into something that originally, like the original fan base of these guys, like what they weren't. What happened to the original fan base?
Back to the already.
Well, yes. And I think a lot of these original fan base guys actually started turning towards something like QAnon, as like they needed something that was more savory. It's savory for them. Pause. Right, where it's like there's like in-depth conspiracy.
Illusions of grandeur.
Yeah, it's like Julian Assange. He's not really arrested. He's hanging out on a beach resort, chilling, drinking Mai Tais. Right. He's not actually in prison. Like they had to write that narrative for themselves in a way.
Not only
to keep the message going.
They said until the last second he was in office that he was going to pardon Assange. Till the last second he was in office, they said he was going to pardon Assange.
Well, don't worry, because they got distracted by they stole the election from him. And like the simple ass kindergarten psychology of CNN hates him.
I mean, even like the 9/11 guys were like, no, he's gonna pardon him. He's gonna pardon him. Like Jason Berman, all those guys.
Yeah. Oh, let me throw Tim Pool in there. I said Crowder. I said Shapiro, Candace Owens, Tim Pool. These guys, and
they fenced
once again
until they saw the right time to jump in.
And they jumped on when they realized, okay, he's one of us. Okay, awesome. Or they already knew. It's more likely they already knew, I would think.
But they had to wait. Yeah, they had to wait it out.
And they had to subvert all these people from going from 9/11 is an inside job to jobs. And the deep state and the woke left, right, turned into, they kind of molded it towards that, which is like, you guys are just dumb people. And that was around the moments where I was really starting to turn on Jimmy Dore. Where I'm like, yo, these are your fucking neighbors. These are your YouTube neighbors. You guys are somewhat in the same world as far as numbers wise and popularity goes. You're somewhat around each other. So like, if you call someone out, they'll know you called them out because you're Jimmy Dore. You have a bigger platform to do. You have a big enough platform to do that. And he just let it ride. And who did he focus on? AOC. Somewhat like the quote unquote left, Sam Cedar, Bernie. I felt betrayed by Bernie. Like, it's a whole history of absolute bullshit. It really is. I mean, is Kyle the way Kyle is because of that shit too? Because Jimmy went after him as well, right? And all these other independent news meet people went after him. So now he's like, what? Kamala's a better choice. So that he's doing like the opposite of like the grifting right wing thing does. That the grifty right winger will be like, oh, well, they might read a story that goes super viral. It's everywhere, right? Well, it looks like Trump personally killed 10 children in Yemen today. Like, he went there personally and shot a gun and killed 10 kids. God damn, that's a crazy story. But do you guys know that Obama, and they go on what Obama did, right? Kyle's doing like a quasi thing of that, where he's like, man, look how bad Trump is. But you guys could have had Kamala, who was clearly better. It's like, she's still bad. She's bad. But she was clearly better. Where it's like, wait a fucking minute. Don't get fucking hoodwinked by this bullshit. Whether it's legitimate as far as Kyle like honestly saying these things, or if he's bullshitting for the sake of strategy and getting votes later on. Don't fucking fall into that fucking trap, bro. Whatever. I got nothing. I'll play more. Here we go.
why that worked so well is because all the pro-war people would just say, oh, that's the thing he really believes when he said pro-war stuff. And all the anti-war people would be like, that's the thing he really believes when he says anti-war stuff.
Back a little bit.
Because
I really have to piss. Asparagus. So I'm just going to let this play. Whatever I miss, I miss. There you go.
I've always said this about Trump is like, even on the campaign trail, half the time he would say anti-war things and then half the time he would say pro-war things. And honestly, the reason why that worked so well is because all the pro-war people would just say, oh, that's the thing he really believes when he said pro-war stuff. And all the anti-war people would be like, that's the thing he really believes when he says anti-war stuff, right? So he's sort of like a Rorschach test. And people projected onto him what they believed. They said, oh, he also believes that because he said this thing, which agrees with me, right? But again, he said everything at once. And Trump has really a unique ability to sort of get away with contradicting himself and being on both sides of an issue at the same time in a way where, like, when Mitt Romney did it, he didn't get away with it. When Hillary Clinton did it, she didn't get away with it. When Trump did it for whatever reason, charisma, way he talks, etc., like, his people just read into it. Like, the thing I believe is what he believes. So here's Ron Paul saying, like, oh, you know, George H.W. Bush made anti-war promises and then he was pro-war. Trump made anti-war promises and now he's pro-war. And it's like, kind of, but that was only half the time he said anti-war stuff. The other half the time he said we're going to bomb the shit out of them, right? The other half the time he said, I'm giving Israel a green light to bomb Iran's nuclear facilities. Joe Biden needs to finish the job. Why the fuck did Joe Biden pull out of Afghanistan like he did? Like, there was also a lot of pro-war stuff too.
What we want to talk a little bit about is targeting Iran. You know, whether it's through you.
That was an interesting point.
Yemen,
I fucking missed it.
with Iran and this sort of thing. But he's literally using dangerous talk.
Yeah, it is.
One article here on anti-war. Trump threatens Iran with bombing if nuclear deal is not reached.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's on whose terms. His turn.
And the other point is what? The other point is,
well, Daniel McAdams says, like, well, how are you supposed to negotiate with that? Or how are you supposed to, like, what do you take it serious? Do you, what do you do with that? But, all right, here we go.
We had a nuclear deal that was working perfectly. The IAEA went in there a dozen times and said Iran is following this. All we had to do was lift the sanctions and give them back their own money. And Trump looked at that deal and said, fuck it, I'm ripping it up. So.
And he sold it as, and trust me, Trump fans, some of the ones I've talked to directly, tell me like, oh no, we're taking our money and we're giving it to Iran instead of giving them money that they're already owed, which is the other narrative. Once again, instead of people settling down, like, okay, let's really investigate this, like demanding investigation, it turns into just a political football thrown back and forth and argued about. No one goes anywhere. Anyways, here we go.
We craft this deal, then we violate it, then we rip it up, and now the same guy that ripped it up is showing up like, hey, do a new deal or I'm going to bomb you. Why would they do a new deal when you didn't abide by the last one? We didn't abide by the last one. They know they can't trust you. They can't take your word for shit, right? So why would they do it? Why would they do it? Especially in a scenario where it's been proven over and over. Look at Libya, for example. Gaddafi gave up his weapons. Boom, he was toppled by the West. North Korea, they have the bomb. We're still, they're still around, right? So there's a deterrent angle to this too, where if you care about self-preservation and self-defense, they're going to want the bomb, right? So,
the "we came, we saw, he died" thing. That was Hillary Clinton who said that. Kyle wouldn't leave that detail out for the sake of Democrats, right? He wouldn't do that, right? There's no way he would do that, right? Sorry to get conspiratorial. Just my mind started flickering about that. I'm like, I hope you're not doing that, Kyle.
That's a good point, because I missed that. I mean, I'm following what he's saying, but I missed that, like...
He said the West.
Like,
I'm like, The West?
Yeah, where he'll avoid, like, pointing out that it was Democrats doing it.
It's under Obama, with Hillary Clinton as Department of State, right? State Department, right? Or was she fucking... No, she was Secretary of Defense, right? Whatever the fuck she was. Something to do with Gaddafi, and she was definitely a part of it. And Benghazi and all that shit. All the ammo that right-wingers had at the time period to take down left-wingers. Because no one wants to be consistent with their morals, arguments, even policy. They don't want to be consistent. Thus, the other team will always have ammo to come back and fire back. And Anyways, here we go.
They can't take your word for shit, right? So why would they do it? Why would they do it? Especially in a scenario where it's been proven over and over. Look at Libya, for example. Gaddafi gave up his weapons. Boom, he was toppled by the West. North Korea, they have the bomb. We're still, they're still around, right? So there's a deterrent angle to this too, where if you care about self-preservation and self-defense.
Actually, notoriously, on the surface, Trump was the one who went to talk with North Korea versus the Democrats, right? There's another thing that, once again, right-wingers will have an argument against you, Kyle, if you leave that out. I don't think he would. I don't know what he would do. I'm confused at this point. See, name mentioned.
I hear. So that this point I've heard that Kyle just said so many times. I actually remember hearing it even in like elementary school when they first like explained like what that was, right? And I wonder why it's repeated like as a fact.
What's that exactly?
Like do we know? Like he gave two examples, right? Like that. Well, they have nuclear weapons, so they we don't attack them. Okay, Gaddafi gave it up, and it's true. He gave it up, and he went down. So that's a fairly good. That is a good example. But do we know that's a fact? That's the way it is. Like
no,
like
I don't know.
It's just always stated as a fact. I've never seen it presented as like anything other than fact. And I think it's dangerous to present it that way because it actually incentivizes. He's basically promoting that if Iran wants to continue, they should
nukes.
have a nuclear weapon, right? Like that would be their defense from getting run over.
Yeah.
So it's a way to say that it's good, right? Like I don't think that's a good message unless you actually know that.
I don't think he's trying to go there. I mean, that could be the end result of like what the actual output of words would lean towards, I guess, maybe. But I don't think he like would actually want that. I've been hearing that argument a little bit. Like we watched Blue Moon Red Wine, or the Lucy Goose, talking about like, yeah, Iran should have fucking nukes because you guys will blow up whoever doesn't. And I've heard that message before. In political circles, but
whether he wants it or not, he might just be presenting it as that might encourage them to get a nuclear weapon just because like if they feel threatened, right? He might be presenting it in a way like that. I just think that type of messaging also. I just want to point out that we don't know that that's true, and I always heard it as if it was.
Yeah. Well, I've heard other theories in regards to Libya, especially like some of their domestic economic things that they were doing. This may be someone who's like would be ideas I've heard. I can't remember names, man, but someone that would probably be considered further left than Kyle, right? Where it's like, oh, well, Gaddafi was free college and free healthcare. He was gonna get off the gold. He was gonna go off the fucking the petrodollar, right? Right,
yeah.
And he was gonna go towards his own gold and shit like that, right? Actual gold currency, and thus they had to take him out. I've heard that theory before. That might be a little bit more mixture of left and right leaning, a little more conspiracy world thinking type people, or like RT where they get a little bit more out there with their takes. Maybe that's where that's from. But also the idea of Libya being a bottle cap of Africa, where you have more extremist groups being able to flood into the Middle East from Africa through Libya, where maybe Gaddafi would have stopped it. Yada, yada, yada. Some people say, which is another damning thing for Kyle trying to say that Democrats' foreign policy is so much better. Or, well, he's saying it's better, right? When he says Trump's is so bad, that he's basically saying theirs is better, right? So something like the idea of they took out Gaddafi, stole his chemical weapons, and then those chemical weapons were used by the quote-unquote moderate rebels that we were also funding in Syria to make it look like Assad was killing his own people with gas attacks. It's a little bit out there. I mean, that's a little convoluted, but that is a idea I've heard, and there's some sense of credibility. I think there is a sense of credibility there. If you go through the entire story of it, which would be like, yo, so Obama set up the takedown of Gaddafi. Obama, Clinton, his administration set up the takedown of Gaddafi in order to get his chemical weapons stash, in order to use it in Syria, in order to blame Syria for it, so that we can bomb and take over Syria, which is what eventually happened, right? We, at this point in time now, in 2025, Syria is now ran over, and it's run by the guys we funded to be there to run them over. It's like, damn. Yes. Like, god dang, right? Which is batshit, which Kyle would say, like, that's fascistic, neocon. Like, that's what that is, but those are the Democrats doing that. I don't know if Kyle has looked into that story enough. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, granted, Trump was funding the same rebels, right? And he was bombing Syria as well. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Me trying to understand where Kyle's coming from, I don't know. But you make a good point about what happened with Libya, and also having nukes as being an automatic protection thing. I don't know if that's that true either, personally. But all right, let's continue. There we go.
Do it. Why would they do it? Especially in a scenario where it's been proven over and over. Look at Libya, for example. Gaddafi gave up his weapons. Boom, he was toppled by the West. North Korea, they have the bomb. We're still, they're still around, right? So there's a deterrent angle to this too, where if you care about self-preservation and self-defense, they're going to want the bomb, right? So anyway, we don't need to go on, but you get the gist of it. The Libertarians are turning on.
Well, at the same time, we have been heavily encroaching, like the Democrat, the lesser evil has been, I mean, they've all been doing it, but the lesser evil has been a lot more aggressive towards Russia than the more evil, which is the Trump and Republicans, right? Trump and Republicans have been less aggressive towards Russia. The lesser evil, aka the Democrats, have been more aggressive towards Russia, and they're a blatant nuclear power. Right? Let's say the idea of Iran having nukes is like, who knows? I don't know. Do they have one? Do they have a secret program? What's going on there? Right? Let's say you don't know. Russia, we all know. They have nukes, and they have a lot of them. And yet, the U.S. has been encroaching on them for years and years, bro. As far as, like, who's been more aggressive towards it, it's clearly been the Democratic Party is more aggressive towards Putin and Russia. Right? Clearly. And the Russians aren't, like, their government, they're not dumb about this topic. They know they've been purposely encroaching towards them. It's not like, oh no, Russia doesn't even know we're doing that. We're just secretly doing it. Like, no, Russians know you guys are pushing at them. They kind of wish they were toppled or some shit like that. So, okay, Trump drums up more in Iran. Kamala would drum up more with Russia. Like, do you see how, like, let's say Dave Smith and Kyle Kulinski, they'd end up talking past each other, even though, like, what they think would be the worst outcome, they're both agreeing with, I think. It's just, you need to maybe combine your foreign policies a bit, or hey, Trump's not going to be some lollipop in the Middle East. And hey, Kamala's not going to be some lollipop in fucking Eastern Europe or the Middle East. Right? They're all going to be contributing to that same problem on both ends of it. But, yeah, politics. Here we go.
Current angle to this too, where if you care about self-preservation and self-defense, they're going to want the bomb, right? So, anyway, we don't need to go on, but you get the gist of it. The Libertarians are turning on Trump. Should have done it a hell of a lot earlier. But nonetheless, I guess it's late to the party, but we'll take it. And the only reason why we're taking it is because when you compare it to the rest of MAGA, they're light years ahead, although still light years behind where they should be.
This guy telling anyone that they're behind on the topics, I'm wrecked. But all right, here you go.
All right, guys, that's the show. Love y'all very much. You guys know that.
Okay. Yada yada yada. You know, the right is always far behind. You know, Kyle. Imagine thinking in stupid terms like that. Imagine that. All right, this has been a long video. 2 hours and 30 minutes. Good God. You know what? Worth it. All right, there's your video. Please subscribe if you like. Comment. Agree, disagree. What do you think? Am I shitting on Kyle too hard? Should I be nicer? Am I fulfilling my enemy role correctly? Am I doing it right? Should I be a dumber enemy? Like, just like, yo, MAGA, yo. Should I do that? What do I do? You tell me in the comments section. Or do you agree with Dave or Ron or Kyle? Do you agree with any of them or any of us? Let it be known in the comments section. Don't forget to share, support, hopefully donate to all the links in the description box. I can't wait to eat this pesto pasta. I can't wait to eat it. I'm going to destroy it in like 5 minutes. What was I doing? Oh, yeah. Without further ado, give this video a thumbs down.
Say you wanna get in.